Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WARNO League Grand Finals in Season 3. As this is where we have been waiting for 2 months. This is what it all comes down to. One best of 5 to finish off the season, and it's going to be an epic one, as we have Scuff and WOEISME, and I'm once more joined by the lovely Chloride here for getting
Eh,
into the such match.
Yeah, hello everybody. I really like to look at my picture. I was surprised to see it once again, but I guess when it comes to the finals, we all have to represent each other. Totally not shirtless in my room right now, by the way.
Yeah, and
Hello, Badraki.
Vo and Scuff here had a really strong run into this grand finals. They come through a lot of tough matches. Vo getting in a 3-1 semifinal here versus Stahl, a 2-1 victory over Dark Neutron, but a really clean run in the group stage. Scuff here with a super close match against Stardeck, but both of them still the strongest players by far in this season, and some of the strongest players in WARNO in general over the last few months. It hasn't been a fluke here, not luck or anything. They have just been really consistent in their play, and I'm really excited for this game number 1 because the game number 1, which we will get into here now, is exactly representing that. As if we have a look on the map that we are getting into here, this is pretty basic. As it's second Fancy Career versus second UK. The picks and bans that we got here are pretty standard as well. Like the maps, Two Ways, Kreide, Black Forest, Hesse, all some a bit more clunky maps and some that can be really swingy, moved away. And instead we have one of the most basic maps ever, Two Lakes. And yeah, we have beaten that horse that we don't like this map a lot of times, but it is a standard classic map, and it is a standard classic matchup for two people to show off their skill here. And this matchup that we got here after pretty predictable picks and bans there. The first UK maybe the only somewhat surprising ban, but we got here now a second UK for Scuff on the right side, and a second Pencil Grenadier on the left side here for WOEISME, and that's two of the top meta divisions right now, and two of the best divisions for sure for this map. And what do you say? Who has the better division for this map here, and what do you think about the opener so far?
Yeah, so the power scaling here with these two mixed light infantry and mechanized NATO infantry divisions is basically that the Germans get more mech, they get more vehicles, they get more autocannons, they get more infantry fighting vehicles, and the British, even though they do get all of those things, get way more helicopters and a significantly more powerful infantry opener. The SAS are not cheap. They are 120 points per buy because you get them with the Saxon, but they also limit your enemy massively. You can't open with planes, especially not the cheap lighter Harrier bombers that you could get. You can't open with helicopters, and you cannot engage at close infantry fighting distance against the SAS, especially not in these towns on this map. So WoW is incentivized in starting the mech up early, getting Marder 1A3s, getting Leopard 1A 1A1s, which are extremely efficient infantry fire support vehicles, and that can also challenge and kill lighter vehicles on the British side. And even the Schwillings, the recently popular, very efficient anti-air guns that are often used in fire support fashion, are a perfect cheap counter to the SAS, and at the very least prevents the SAS from pushing up. Now, if WoW does not go and challenge the SAS, this means that WoW will lose both of the towns and will be forced to basically try to win them back under the enemy tick. Meanwhile, the second UK will have incredibly fast reinforcements with both helicopters as well as the 100 kph transport vehicles with them, and this will most likely be a game where WoW wants to avoid infantry fights and manufacture engagements where the fire support can get the points up. And on the other hand, Scoof is going to micro against that, most likely targeting anti-aircraft guns, anti-aircraft vehicles, and trying to gain some level of air supremacy, because that is where the second UK can kind of get their defensive edge up. In the late game, I believe the tanks of the second UK will basically act more as low vet pillboxes, trying to gain numbers against the better tank and mech tabs of second Panzergrenadier. But even with the scaling advantage, significantly, at least pretty much significantly for this level of play going for WoW, I still believe that this is the Skuf's map. Second Panzergrenadier, second UK is the Russian division. It is the one that gets paid by Homelander, gets paid by Skuf, gets played by Pro Comi. On this map, especially, it is nigh on unbeatable. And if somebody can actually perform the micro perfectly, take the unit choices, not invest too much or too little into any different parts of the map, it is absolutely Skuf on second UK. But WoW is also absolutely a force to be reckoned with, and it really doesn't take too many mistakes from the Russians' part to lose the initiative and have WoW suddenly have some tactical positions with way better and cheaper fire support, largely in the form of the Martyr Milans and the Leopard ones.
Yeah, and the second Panzer Grenadier also has the better artillery, which, if this would be Pro Comi here in blue, Pro Comi would have the M110 out already, most likely. But I'm pretty optimistic that we will see the big NATO artillery pieces out here as well. And those can get rid of the SAS quite quickly if the SAS stands still. So that could be a problem in the later stages as well. But the early game, as always, on two legs will be pretty explosive, as WoW is getting for a big push towards Zulu. If WoW can get through Zulu with this push, then his position is pretty good. If Skuf can keep him out of Zulu for long enough in the early stages, then the situation will become a bit more dicey, as Oscar for sure will fall to the red side. The two SAS here basically get it for free, but Skuf maybe overinvesting a bit into the south here. All the Milan 2s and the two helicopter reinforcements both going to the south instead of the north. So his forces in the north, those are only two SAS, one Warrior Milan, a Rover Milan, and a Mod Airmobile Leader. So this is not all that much. Yes, he is there a bit faster, but against three Martyrs, the Zwillinge, and a decent amount of infantry, it's not going to be super easy to hold this.
Yeah, the two SAS investment anywhere is quite a lot. And even though the recon units can actually start taking map control if they don't spot anything at Oscar, the Hell Arms and the air mobiles, they might actually be best getting rerouted somewhere. But of course, rerouting helicopters is quite dangerous because helicopters are so vulnerable. And this map is pretty close distances. Now we're seeing the SAS go into pretty standard aggro positions at the northern town with the recon net, the ATGMs already getting established here by WoW. WoW not taking, taking a single Fallschirmjäger unit here, even though the Fallschirmjäger, the West German, is famously a bad unit and not really worth it. But, in case the enemy starts getting a larger infantry attack early on, you want to have that single unit there, even if it's overpriced. Schwiling opening fire at the Lynx Hellarm. This is the Hellarm 7 with the ITO missile. There is also a Hellarm 1 with the standard 16-pen TOW missile, and that is getting used to transport Milan 2s.
Yeah, the Milan 1 got also shut down on the Milan already shot the Hellarm 1 on the ground, but Skuf at least rotating some of his helicopter units up to the north. That is important. That Milan 2 there on the side can be pretty consequential. But the SAS already spotted, now under fire by Martyrs, will have to retreat deeper into the town. And Skuf will now need to get reinforcements into the north. Milan 2 and Saxon coming up. The Lynx rocket with the airmobiles rotating north as well. This is really what he needs to do. Getting as many forces up north as possible right now, because WoW is not threatening the south whatsoever. WoW is all about going in there for the northern push, and if Skuf can hold that off for a good while, then the lead that Skuf can gain off this will be massive. But for now, slight take here for WoW, as WoW captured both rear zones, and Skuf is the one that has to take up to that in the near future. Challenger Mark II immediately being bought. I like that. This can deal with the Martyrs quite nicely. And on the other side, there's no tank really that can contest that. But the infantry fights in the town are going to be the most important part now. early M110 could be interesting. Oh, it's 155mm. That works out nicely as well. It's the cheaper variant. It's a good artillery piece as well. That's the best towed howitzer in the game. And yeah, WoW really bringing that out as well now.
Yeah, Marder losing against the Milan, but the problem here is that Skuf's ATGM line has already run out of missiles. WoW has been microing smoking against them efficiently. There is supply coming, but with Jaeger Aufklärers already pushing up and the Scimitar pushing towards the ATGM line, this means that this supply might get intercepted before it reaches the rover, thus giving one of the most important defensive angles completely neutered. And with the Panzermörser is opening fire to smoke the gap, even if the ATGMs weren't out of ammunition, now they most certainly are incapable of firing.
Ooh, SAS got caught out there a bit. Swilling and Marder is shooting it down to half strength and low cohesion, so the first one here has to be moved. Milan 2 falls immediately to the 155mm. Great usage there for the first shot. At the same time, Link's rocket here coming in with decent firepower from the side, killing off one unit. So a decent amount of damage there. The ammo belts trying to push over the open, trying to get into the buildings in the south, but the Leo 1A5 has them spotted and has them figured out. So it's going to be a lot of micro here that is needed on both sides up north. Challenger now trying to push up there. More Link's rocket helicopter infantry coming up. The ammo belts landing there. The SAS being brought back to strength as the SAS really key for this town fight. If you can keep them around with the Stingers, they will kill the Panzer Grenadiers, they will kill the Fallschirmjägers, and they will also push back enemy planes like that Harrier that is coming in right now. Harrier not quite finding the line of sight, gets the Challenger. Challenger gets immediately hit by some AT weapons here, going down to only 6 hit points, so the Harrier for sure will murder it now. Can the SAS get the shot on target beforehand? No, they cannot, and the Challenger is down. The SAS don't even get the kill against the Harrier, and this is a devastating loss for our player in red here. Second UK is in trouble.
Yeah, WoW so far has done basically everything perfectly, and right now the infantry fights are not going amazingly, with some of the fire support being slightly out of position, but even then WoW is applying pressure, losing reasonably cheap units against pretty expensive units, as long as the larger...
The artillery wiping out the SAS and the leader there. This 155mm artillery paying off massively already, and this is going to be a really tough fight here now for Skuf. Losing to the Tornado Mehrzweckwaffe, his second SAS. The northern position is falling apart rapidly. At least he gets the Tornado, at least he gets the Fallschirmjäger Führer as well, as that was killed off by the Mehrzweckwaffe too. But the reinforcements here are struggling to get into the town now, as the Marders and Leos are pushing through that now. So they most likely won't be able to make it in. Yeah, Skuf realizing that, and he is still behind the second Panzer Grenadier in points here. So Skuf is still the one that has to go onto the offensive for the rest of the game to find a solution here, and this as second UK won't be easy. It has the combined arms, it can do it, but the one of second Panzer Grenadier in the late game is better, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah, this is a worst-case scenario for Skuf right now. Skuf's expensive opener and attacking two towns meant that they didn't have a double leader opener. This meant that WoW, who had a more concentrated attack, did have a double leader opener and managed to take both of these positions, giving WoW just a slight advantage in points. But even then, the fact that the mech fights have just gone WoW's way. WoW has been losing units, but it really seems like the vetted up elite modders are performing amazingly. It is not new information to most people that autocannons scale really well with veterancy, and the 5 armor that the 1A3 modder gets is survives most attacks, most missiles, and most gunshots. At least from the lighter guns. But and the fact that the modders are so reliable and the autocannons perform their duty so amazingly seems to be a very successful investment here. Like these are constantly stunned and getting even routed sometimes, but in just a few seconds the modders are in fighting shape. Right now they're surviving shots from the Carl Gustav.
Yes, the Leo 185s here also doing a good job with their smoke micro. Really well done by WoW against the Rover Milans, getting a shot out, and then if he misses with that shot, smoking off immediately after before the Milan Rover can get its missile on target. And that leads to a great lead here. Yeah, the Phantom AA opener not did cost Scoof quite a bit. If that would have been Warrior Milans or so in the north, that could have helped out earlier in the hold of the town, but even then, this game here is deteriorating quickly on the ground. The Tornado AT gets the Challenger. Oh no. We might be on a quick way here to game number 2. Tornado IDS AT gets killed off. Leo 185 at least gets killed off as well. So finally some victories here, but on the loss of the Challenger, that still feels pretty pyrrhic to me.
Yes, KUF is now buying a mechanized force to attack the back point at Papa, but that is going to be very lightly supported attack, and it is going to be countered by a Leopard 185, and there is already a decent enough recon in the form of Scimitar, which can also flank the mech attack. With a Leopard 2 getting bought there, yeah, Scoof realizing that that attack was never going to go anywhere.
GG is called out, and WOEISME here, nearly with a 2-1 KD. Really well executed game 1 here on 2 legs, getting us through that map quickly. No long 2 leg suffering for us here. No big slow match. Nope, WOEISME coming in with a perfectly executed counter push. Reading the plan of the opponent really well there. The split up forces of 2nd UK not able to contain 2nd Panzer Grenadier, and 2nd Panzer Grenadier just crushing through everything there.
Yeah, I mean, in the points betting in the Twitch chat, I put 10k for Scoof to win this game. I've seen so many games in 2nd UK, so many games on 2 legs, and I gotta say, WoW just what WoW did was quite simple, but it was perfectly executed. That is the way that you survive your 2 legs games, is you just get the few crucial early engagements. You get that artillery, you get that Meerschwaffe, and you punish your enemy's infantry concentration that they're microing very heavily. And we saw WoW send infantry, even the infantry leader was sent on basically to die inside the town, just so that there could be reliable spotting for the Meerschwaffe and the artillery. And that fire support scaling, like immediately getting up into those heavy weapons, just completely ruined the air mobile and SAS-based close range defense. And there was not enough support to protect against it. A big part of it was most likely the 2 SAS investments in the southern town. Could have just had a single one and had a 3rd unit up north. But of course, WoW had the ability to decide where those fights were going to go. And the Marder 1A3s vetted up heavily and constantly acting next to the command tank was a really good choice. I was constantly just looking at the Marder's opening fire and moving just far enough away from the enemy infantry, getting that cohesion damage done, and which would then allow for the Panzer Grenadiers, the smaller and cheaper squads, to actually start doing damage. Love watching WoW play. WoW stocks are rising right now. Everybody bet on WoW.
Yeah, the 155mm artillery, they're also coming in with a really important number of salvos there. Like, that was bought right at the perfect time, taking out the Milan 2 that was trying to cover the flank, and then hitting in the town right as the infantry was pushing forward to take out the SAS and the airmobile, and making sure that the infantry fight would go WoW's way as well. Really important hits there, really well timed and positioned, and that just got this game through so quickly. The hits against the challengers, super important as well with the Air Force there, and really showing why 2nd Panzer Grenadier has been a part of the competitive scene for so long by now. This combined arms is just such a menace, and yes, 2nd UK isn't bad at that either, but it had to get more out of the early game to actually get somewhere, and Scuff not able to do it here in game 1. So going to be interesting to see what we get in game number 2. Map has already been picked. We will be on War to Go for map number 2. So that is going to be interesting. As I'm
so
just
far,
moving stuff around so that we
Yes.
can get that all going on. And
Yeah, so far leopards are getting banned hard. Everybody is agreeing that the leopard is the best tank. Leopard 2.
Yeah, 5th Panzer and 4th NL being banned here. 56 and 20th Polish as 4th NL and 5th Panzer on Vertigo. Yeah, the Leo 2A 4C can do so much more work on this map. So it's going to be interesting to see what the counter pick's going to be here. Second UK, by the way, was the counter pick of Babelgun versus Woe, 2nd Panzer Grenadier. So now Woe will have the counter pick, and Babelgun picking 79th here. This is going to be interesting. If you want to help out this tournament, guys, check out the lovely PC on the side. Check out the Matcherino page. There you can help out funding this tournament. And if you haven't done so, consider leaving a follow down below and leaving a follow over at Chlorite's channel as well if you're already at it. All the information in the chat right now. As game number 2, going to be exciting. Also, WARNO League Season 4 sign up has started, so if you want to be the one that gets casted next season, sign up for it. It will be split into 4 divisions as this season as well, and players of each skill level will have good players of similar skill level to face off against. So yeah, starting at the 2nd of June, 1 month of downtime here, and then we're gonna jump back right into the action in June. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. And this pick and ban phase going really quickly here. Let's see what Woe is coming up with against the 79th. Like,
Woe has not come up with anything yet. The 79th pick was taken by Lathens earlier on in the league, back when you were on holiday and I was doing solo casts. And Lathens just did such a decisive victory, completely dismantling people in Division 1 with 79th. And I don't know if it were those games, but 79th has been becoming a really popular Vertigo division. Skific, of course, has been promoting 79th recently. Ooh, Woe is picking the good old overpowered one. 5th Friends Armored Division, 5th Blinde coming right up. And 5th Blinde here is a division that we actually saw a couple of casts ago in Division 3 against 79th. And 79th strength against 5th Blinde is that they get a T80 that has the same speed and maneuverability as all of the French tanks, at least the better ones, the B2s and Brennises. The 79th has such a massive tank advantage. They also get a really good anti-air net with the KUFs, so the French fighters are not as relevant. The cheaper ones, especially, that can get one shot by the KUF missiles. The speed of the ISD 29 T80 will be able to better dodge the Mephisto Hot 2 missiles that are very commonly used to actually kill the tanks, because the tanks are not the ones that kill the tanks in 5e, as everybody knows. 5e will have significantly better infantry, but that infantry may not be the best investment, considering the mechanized alternative of having weaker infantry squads, but BMP2s might be the meta pick right now. We are currently in much of an IFV meta, and if, let's say, there is a close range infantry fighting with both sides here, 79th and 5e, trying to build up fire support, the French will have superior infantry AT weapons. They will have a bunch of Milan 2s that can hide around the place, but they won't have the amount of but they won't have an infantry fighting vehicle that comes along with the tanks and with the infantry and provides a Conqueror's missile. The Conqueror's missile is can penetrate everything that the French can bring out. So the BMP2 here might be the better alternative to the stronger squads and stronger AT weapons of the French infantry.
yeah, the French don't get one-shotted by the Conquerors, though. Like, the French, they struggle against TOE2s and Milan 2s that can one-shot them. Against Conquerors, sure, they do damage, but they don't get one-shot. So I think it is a pretty decent matchup for the 5th Blinde here nonetheless. Yes, the faster T80BV ICDs can keep up with the MX-30s, so they can run away, they can kite in the later stages, but until that setup is going up for 79th, the 5th Blindé has the speed advantage. They have all the fast tanks, and Vertigo can allow for some aggressive pushing in the south, or if WoW wants to play it around the north, that can work out as well. The Mephisto ATGM carriers can be, and the MX-10 ATGM carriers with the great Hot 2 missiles can be quite strong against the BMP2s and so on as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how WoW approaches this map. He is the one that will have the initiative, and he will have to use it this time around. It's going to be swinging around, with 79th most likely being more defensive in the early game. But if 79th gets going, it's going to be tough for the French to stop this on this really open map, where the heavier tanks in the late game usually rule.
Yeah, 79th on this map especially, but on all maps really, if it's played competitively, nowadays tends to open with a vetted up ISD, at least one of them, and that single one on defense is enough on basically holding the French openers if it's supported well enough with anti-air and infantry and recon, of course. The but if a couple of AMX-10s, let's say, if something wacky, something wowy coming out here and takes out the opener veteran MBT, suddenly that's a pretty big hole on 79's defenses, and that losing that fire supremacy, losing the fact that you have the better tank on board to a numerous force of French vehicles can allow the French to transport quickly, get some commandos in helicopters, get some VABs with 100 kph, and just try to gain map control in the time between the next TATs actually arriving the battlefield. And if WoW can gain an early kill, if WoW can risk maybe a Jaguar bomber or something to gain that early kill, an infantry attack on Bravo can be devastating because it's so difficult to get anything out of Bravo on either side, especially when these players know the positions, both the close and long range positions from which to hold these spots. There are correct options. There are positions that you can position units where they are very difficult to get rid of. And on this level, a lot of the time, it kind of comes down to who can make sure that their positions are both correct and then also not predictable enough for the enemy to pre-aim them. And these small little details are not necessarily visible to the viewer, but for instance, on Bravo, if you show if Protoss, if you can show the line of sight tool, you can see the forests. You can position infantry units in the west side of this little thin strips of tree lines, which means that the enemy is going to have to drive into AT weapons range or into a range of the rest of your supporting ATGM weapons. So just having like a commando unit or a grenadier Apilas, grenadier voltage or Apilas there, that can be a huge issue if you drive in vehicles and Apilas gets like 2 hits on something you got there, maybe even something like a Shilka. That's a big hit in the early game, and the standard way to do here for WoW is to kind of take the risks early on, but 5e is a division that rewards advanced skills and advanced unit combinations, so it could also be that WoW tries to do some kind of a trap to lure the enemy into possibly doing like a opener all in. Who knows? Love to see it, especially after that last game. I really have high hopes for WoW.
Yeah, and we are into game number 2 here. They are still loading in, so should start any second here, with them being pretty far away on the globe and having both to connect to the Eugenesis server. Loading up can take a while, but it should set up quite nicely. And it's going to be WoW on the left side here, and our 79th here on the right side in red. And that is going to be interesting. Yeah, picks and bans here, pretty standard. And the 79th really having a big comeback lately. BMP2 obviously always have been great, but the mod, those Strelkies in them got a bit cheaper again. And that, I think, really is what brought them back fully. The Motostrelki RPG-22 making that infantry combo with BMP2 really affordable again, and pushing us, giving you the mechanized opening force that you need to get those IZD fast TDBVs online, as we are hoping that both players are able to load in here. And yeah, both sides here should be ready to go in a second. Not quite sure. Maybe there has been a rehost.
I don't know. It says they're saying it's all good, and for me, it says 25 seconds.
Oh, it allows you to go. Okay, it's doesn't.
No. I don't know. For whatever reason, it's not showing on your side, but on my side, it's 10 seconds to start.
Oh, okay. I guess that's the issue then. Okay, it just doesn't show the image. Interesting.
1.
Yeah, okay. It goes live now. Okay, it just didn't show the icon. That is good. Okay, everything is fine. WOEISME and Scuff, game number 2 here. Starting up in this best of 5. So if WOEISME is winning here on this map, he will be on match point. So Scoof really doesn't want to let that happen. And oh my goodness, what an opener here. This is quite a setup that we see here from WoE. This is a lot of AMX30s here, and they are not setting up to be toying. They will just go for throat, I'm pretty sure. So Scoof better be ready in the south, because there's a lot of heat coming his way immediately.
Yeah, so Skulf here is doing about as aggro as you can, really, playing 79th, double recon helicopter opener, and double Rasvedka BMPs with the Monta Rasvedkas, and vetted to veterancy 1. Very important if you're buying recon units that are supposed to carry you in fights, especially something like the Rasvedka BMP2. Get that extra veterancy, it will make it so much more capable in practice. Also, the 100 kph cheap defensive units, the Conquerors, the Iglas, also getting into not even standard positions. I think the Rasvedka BMP here is going to contest to fight for the middle, but I really can't see that thing winning against the Surblinde. If the Surblinde gets shots off against the Rasvedka BMP2, it will most likely be able to drive off the Motor Rasvedka as well, meaning that the middle will be like French reinforcement territory. And the French love to have that because they want to be able to build a wider front of area denial ATGMs, forcing the heavier tanks into smaller spaces, and thus building engagements against them. The way to deal with something like an enemy that scales better than you is to manufacture the conditions in which you win. You get the dragon paras, you get the sightlines, you get the concaves, you get the positions for infantry to defend you if you have to retreat, and that way you slowly attrition away the more expensive units. And when the enemy suddenly gets swarmed by your stuff after trading badly, you can go to the Reddit and complain about this or that division being more too powerful because you didn't understand what happened.
And yeah, VLRAs here coming in with Dragon Paras, one AMX10. They will try to blind the enemy. They will try to find at least one of the BMP2s. The Teresks can kill off the Mi2s quite early, but the tank blob likely will be spotted. Okay, WoE also going a bit back on this, dialing it a bit down. What's on the other side? TDBVK, first unit to be around. Conquers here coming through the middle. That has been set up from the get-go. BMP2s setting up pretty standard as well. Mi2 in the north. That is, yeah, it's pretty standard here. The double, the Skific opener is what it's called. We have a couple of really important decisions in the past that changed the meta, named after players. This is clearly the Skific double helicopter recon opener. Skific brought that back with his WARNO videos, and all other competitive players basically followed suit. And there are a couple of other plays, like the Dark Neutron double tank opener, that are a bit more limited to who plays them or played them at the time. But this one here is just universally received as a really strong one, as the Mi2 helicopter is really cheap, and since the very good optics buff, it can see a lot. So for 30 points, getting those air optics is really, really nice.
Yeah, the so a command tank coming for KUF, which kind of makes me think that there could be a second tank also. The increased early game fighting capacity, even though it's very expensive, I think it is generally the right choice because the French can if the French can gain a suppression advantage, cohesion advantage against your single tank, they can risk some of their units in just a few seconds to drive close by. The AMX-10, AMX-30Bs, for instance, these are the cheap older generation tanks. They are significantly slower than the B2s, and they have really bad guns in that they don't have kinetic penetrators. They always just do the 15 point damage. But having those things around, they can open fire against the heavier tanks and they can suppress them. And if the tanks get suppressed, they will get stunned every once in a while, and they will lose significant like amounts of their aim time. Their accuracy will go down. With autoloaders, their rate of fire will not go down, but even then, the accuracy is just and the initiative advantage is enough for something like the Brennus to go and get the kill. And if this actually becomes like knife fighting with the AMX-30s, I would love to see that. The high veterancy for the AMX-30s once again kind of implies that this is going to be aggressive, as it should be. I love that we're in the high veterancy meta for such a long time in this game. The correct choice was to never go beyond veterancy 1. And but much like the Skithic helicopter opener, but with these expendable 30-point helicopters, that was there was no balance change really, except the slightly increased recon spotting for every recon unit. The points were kind of on the board there. The capacity to do that was always there, and it really was a Skithic who had the proof of concept. Now MiG-29 AA3, armed with the high-tech missiles, goes and takes out both of the Alouettes. That's actually a really big deal, because that denies WoW the vision of what the first units are going to be. The fact that this is a pretty predictable opener with flame tank, command tank, OSA, two Rosetta BMP2s.
The SU-22, 25, this is going to be really brutal. Oh, it gets the first Dragon Power, even with the transport still going on. MiG-29 also keeps the Gazelle cannons back. Oh, Skoof going for a similar opener that ruined one of the semifinals games for the as the SU-25 AT here is really, really scary, and there is not enough AA around for this. This is going to stop 5th lane day dead in its tracks. There's no way WoW can push into this. This is the perfect opener here from our player in red, as the SU-25 AT has no villain here that can stop it. The Roland 3 only now coming up, and that will take so long to get to the front lines. The MXs can't really push to it. MX-10 in the north has to immediately disengage here. At least stays alive, but you basically need fighters against that, and all the French fighters, they aren't up on the level of the MiG-29, so this is going to be really tough to stop.
Yeah, another Su-25 is getting called out here with the recon deploying and providing even more permanent spotting than the Mi-2. The Mi-2 most likely does actually spot the tanks on long ranges right now, and WoE is popping preemptive smoke to be able to capture this position without the enemy sniping out his command AMX. And right now we're seeing the close range engagements. Oh, AMX-30B getting a first shot in, and with the Su-25 going after the second one. Miraculously, all of the French tanks so far alive with some really good hits done on the T-80. WoE just microing the smokes and the engagements just a little bit better here.
MiG-29 going down as well, so this is going pretty well for WoW, as good as you could hope. Oh, good hit against the T-80 BVK, immediately taking that out of the equation. The Gazelle cannons running into a BMP2, that's not optimal, but those are replaceable. Those are not the important units here, and he pushes the enemy back from the push that was maybe a bit overeager here from our player in red. They have way less units on the ground, and they didn't get the kills at all. AMX-10 RC still going strong in the north, and the Su-25s push back. The MiG-29 that you can't afford to lose already down, and this is now WOEISME's time to shine. WoW wants to get the push in, and WoE can get the push in here, I believe.
Yeah, Protos, I think I'm actually 10 seconds ahead of you. I'm trying to catch back to you, so I don't spoil these engagements.
Yeah, Conqueror's here trying to come around. We see BMP2 pushing forward. Dragon Para trying to get into there deeper. AMX-30B goes down. Both AMX-30Bs going down. Oh, this is not... This is the kills that now Skoof needs to actually have a chance of stopping this. Another SU-25 out in the skies. Kills the AMX-10 RC in the north. It's the least important AMX-30s that fell. Those were the two normal AMX-30Bs, the old variants. But the Brennus and the AMX-30B2 leader now a bit more vulnerable. SU-25 finally getting pushed back by the Roland 3. BMP2 here is trying to fire against the VAB. Super Blinde in the south. Staying alive against the SU-25. Roland not able to get the hit, but the TRM 2000 and Roland at least good enough to stress this SU-25 to leave the battlefield. And yeah, the units on the ground here, number-wise, not that great right now for Skoof. Skoof only getting one more TAD in, one more BMP2, so the push of the French can continue for now.
Yeah, this is the thing here. Like this, the air opener worked out really well, but even then, the losses that were gained were not the crucial ones. The Brennus, the Roland, and the AMX-30 leader are still all alive, and 2 more Brennuses are coming in as reinforcements. The thing that Skoof is lacking due to investment in all of those airplanes is just numbers.
Oh, he gets the snipe with the Conquerors though. AMX-30 leader gets sideshotted. They at least get the BMP2 in the south, but the leader of Evo is down, and WoE didn't even capture his alpha point, so WoE is not getting the tick here anytime soon. The north is fully occupied by Skoof, and Skoof can make it wide now. He has the SU-25s, there's no AA in the north, so WoE has to go through the south for now, where his AA is, where he can anchor around the Roland 3s, and he's down now to only one AMX-30 Brennus, and there's a TADBV on the other side. WoE is starting to get stranded here.
Yeah, the numbers advantage means that there are just more points of contact for the Brennus getting hit by the T80 here, but fortunately Smoke Mortar and the Jaguar gets a stun in here, did not get the kill there, would have been crucial, but even then smoking it off, very important to keep up the numbers here. The sheer map control you can have by having the risk of something like a Grenadier Voltage or Apilas that can absolutely devastate any vehicles on really accurately on 750 meter range. The planes are currently all rearming and repairing, and they will come back in a moment, but by that point WoE has been enjoying a numbers and initiative advantage down on the ground. And right now, with the 2 T80s pushing forward there, as I pointed out, those positions that you can put your infantry in this forest, WoE seems to be retreating to those, and that means that they will be able to punish the T80s if they get just a little bit too close.
Yeah, T80 now in range. Eats a Apilas from the front, and there comes the Brennuses, the 2 second Brennus coming around the corner. First T80BV going down. We have an MX out one in the rear line as well here. And the Brennuses both hurt now, but the T80BVK gets hit as well, gets pushed back. And yeah, running into an Apilas, never a healthy thing to do, especially not if 2 Brennuses come around the corner right at that moment as well to eat you alive. And now it's WOEISME with the big advantage on the front line again. But here we go again. Double ST-25 out in the sky, coming in here for the flanking kills. Roland 3 is there, but it's only a single one. There is a Mistral a bit further back as well, but if those missiles here can find their target, that would be still pretty problematic. There is a Mirage out as well. SU-25 here, still fishing for more. Roland 3 gets the first one damaged, gets the second shot out, doesn't get a kill there, but the Mirage coming in, getting the kill there. Ooh. 2 successive missiles and going for the SU-25 rocket in the rear as well. And the OSA only finding 1 hit so far, might get another shot on the way out. No, the Mirage, I think, flies too far and too high. No, there we go. Shot goes out, but it does miss. And that is a big victory there once more for WoW. Skoof not getting the value out of the SU-25 that they hoped for. TADBV coming in from the rear, as we have still a decent amount of BMPs on the front line, but only one T80 right now up there.
Yeah, but the Motorstruck BMP actually performed really nicely there. They worked in tandem with the Conkers that got re-armed behind the smoke here and actually got the Brenner skill inside the smoke. Now they're currently spotting for the T-80 to provide fire against the Grenadier Voltigeurs. Those things are vetted up so they can survive the stress for a moment, and they're large squads so that they can survive and get themselves repaired by the TRM 2000. But oh no, the BMP-1 is getting... BMP-1 misses with the Fagot missile, and with reinforcements, 2 more Grenadier Voltigeurs coming back there. The infantry fight here will be the French salient, but their supporting vehicles, the Brennesses, are currently repairing, and there is they don't have the control over the middle citadel area as much as they would like to. I think WoE is likely going to attack that with some smoke, but and oh no, Mirage F1s, double fighters going after the Su-25s, taking it out. That's the AT variant. That's a really dangerous one.
And the Iglas here, not in high enough numbers, no KUFs around to kill these planes off, and the also are there too short range, so in the end works out quite nicely. AMX-10 hot here coming around. The airplay of Skoof has been countered. Skoof is the one on the +2 though, has even a +3 up now, as the alpha zone never got captured. There was never a new CV after the MX-30 CV died on WOEISME side. That Conqueror's side shot really the most impactful thing happening so far, giving us this big point lead that Skoof is enjoying right now, and getting even higher up. 400 points is a nice thing to have, but they obviously at the moment need to focus more on the KD. As of now, points aren't winning you the game just yet, but it's getting into a sweeter spot there with each minute that ticks by here for Skoof, and that for sure is important. More T80BVs coming up, more BMP2s, and if you get a nice ATGM wall up, then the French will struggle to push through that.
Yeah, so the Grenadier Voltigeurs actually getting into the citadel almost unharmed because Skoof's infantry were out of position, and now the French troops in the better squads are in the buildings and will likely be able to do a lot of damage. Taking out the Conquerors alone is crucial here. Own with an AUF-1 autoloader equipped artillery piece here as well. Now this is the AMX-10 HOTS are in nice positions, getting a nice hit against the command tank there, and in the southern front there's still a Surblinde in a position to move out and strike at the sides of any mech that actually tries to get into the middle of Bravo. Meanwhile, the Apilas also can provide a very crucial damage there. The way to get in here for Skoof, I think, is actually the Motostrelkis. The Motostrelki and the Spetsnaz crew just have to get out there, and they have to provide the fire support with contact targeting. Oh, the Mirage performing amazingly here, taking out the expensive AT helicopter. But KUFs and OSAS, especially on this tightly packed map, getting a lot of damage done. I think we are going to see here the thing that I mentioned earlier about the BMP-2s versus the French infantry. The BMP-2s start to be on the field here. And basically the BMP-2 and Motostrelki combo, as all mechanized infantry works, is that if the BMP and the Motostrelki are engaging an enemy infantry squad and nothing else is participating in this, the BMP-2's damage is insane. It doesn't show immediately, but wait for like 15 seconds and the damage that gets done is very crucial. Another BMP getting a front hit by an LRAC, but Skoof microing it away and saving these very crucial and still very affordable 60-point infantry fighting vehicles.
Yes, AMX of 1 here is a great investment, I believe, for the long run here by WoE, getting in the early artillery from the get-go, taking out Conqueror's position where they can, but the BMP-2 and TADBV combo here is something they have to keep in decently low numbers so that the French armored formations can push forward, get a kill, and move back before too many ATGMs from all sides come down to them, or the TADBVs can just one-shot the AMXs here too easily. And it's going decently well at that right now, but WoE is still the one that needs to get a push on somewhere late, as the +2 still ticking here for the red side, 700 points advantage, so getting into the aggressive mode with 5th plane day is pretty tough, and that air opener from Skoof here with the 79th really was a genius move to get the 5th plane day onto the back foot. It didn't work out super well with the planes, but it still got the terrain advantage that the 79th is profiting from right now.
Yeah, the Su-25s risked it all so that the BMP-2s could thrive, really. And now the BMP-2 thriving is going to start happening here. And with the French infantry getting pushed away from the front of the Bravo forest, this means that basically every likely engagement here is going to be had on long ranges. And the French can do long-range defense very well with their ATGMs and their ability to deploy really quickly and their good supply. But if the combined arms of 79th actually gets online, there is an Akatsiya here now. There's going to be a bunch of Motostrelkis all around the place providing contact. There's going to be some kind of an air advantage, I think, because the KUFs and OSAs are just way too good, and I don't believe the 5e gets seed. The Mirages are up in the air, and there's a Jaguar AT as well, likely going to try to punish either AA or T80s. But yeah, so far this scaling here really going in favor of Skoof, and the points advantage due to the lost not capturing this alpha point is really starting to hurt here. WoE is going to be forced into long-range engagements on Skoof's terms.
Yes, AMX 10 HOTS here, trying to get some damage in. The AMX of 1 still doing a decent job, but BMP2s here with the long-range fire, really scary. Decent engagement for WoE here so far, getting a Motostrike, getting a BMP2, losing 1 infantry of his own, but his Brennus and Super Blinde flank here in the south, that could be really impactful later on. More T80BVs coming around, the number currently only on 2 on the front line, and 1 more in the north, 1 more coming up from the rear. If that reaches 5-6 T80BVs, it's going to be something that is nigh unstoppable for the AMXs in a direct fight, so Skoof trying to scale up here, but I think WoE finally gets into a position where they can start attrition away the enemy, and the Motostrike is here dying a bit too quickly, BMP2's dying a bit too much as well. WoE finally got to a sweet spot here with the French.
Yeah, the Brennuses and the AMX-10s are now moving up there. The spotting gives, and the autocannon combo just deletes Motostrelki immediately, and the Razvedka is not really in position. Suddenly there aren't that many things that can actually act. There is actually nothing that can spot the southern flank here. So the Brennuses and the AMXs are going to be deploying recon and firepower very close with nothing here to stop this. The fight for the middle citadel has not been finished yet. It is technically in the control of Skoof, but Skoof cannot use it to hurt.
The flank from the south, getting the T80BV ICD, BMP2 going down as well. This is what WOEISME needed. The MX-30B2 leader got damaged again, but it didn't get taken out this time around. And now for Skoof, there's only 1 T80BV leader and a BMP2 here in the center. Gets the Jaguar AT, gets 1 AMX-30, but his units from the north need to come around quickly. He has 1 more T80BV coming up from the rear. Rapiras being bought, but they're coming in a bit late here, as this push is happening, and it's getting through the south. WoE still a bit scared, doesn't push the CV right in there, so the +2 does continue, but the Brennuses here from the side are dangerous. Oh, that could be the end of the OSA. No, OSA doesn't get spotted, but the T80BV leader gets. And Akatsiya here in a dangerous spot as well. Can't really move anymore. Engine destroyed on the T80BVK, and it's showing side armor. It shows side armor. Oh, no. This is going to be so brutal. Brennus there with the side shot, gets the kill. As the Akatsiya is using direct fire here now, trying to desperately hold this point, but the coup goes down as well. WoE with such a well-executed push here.
Yeah, with the numbers advantage and the fact that the veterancy gives you a slightly faster reload time. Oh no, the T80 missing the point-blank shot on the T80BV, but still managing to survive with all of these Brennuses. Su-25 rocket blind firing, trying to get the Surblinde here, and T80 getting into knife fighting range. Oh, this is a huge risk here. With the cohesion going down on the French tanks already, they might be able to get the first shot.
Jaguar AT gets the next TADBV ICD there sniped. These numbers are dropping here. The Combined Arms is falling apart. The Rapira's finally coming around. We have a decent point lead here for our player in red, but they need to start getting some trades, and they don't get those as the 3 French tanks trade 1-1 against the TADBV, and that's obviously a massive victory for the French here once more. BMP2 kills off a TRM 2000, but it will lose against the Brenners and the MX-10 RC there, trying to get out of there as the Mi-24 comes around. But the TRM 2000 here for the rear flank, getting into a scary spot as well, as this is pretty critical now for Skoof. Skoof, as I said, still has the +2, has 1,200 points, has the North in a decent position, but just needs to get some trades on here finally again, as all TADBVs have been cleaned off the map.
Yeah, the defense in depth here with the Rapiras and the BMP2s, and as well as the Mi-24P, the best helicopter, I believe, though only with 479th, though only with 4 Kokon missiles, so not really that much lasting capacity in defense. This is not the worst position for Skoof. There could have been an actual complete failure here, and losing the T-80 up north, which was trying to do a flank down southwest from down to southwest from Delta. That did not happen. All with the Mirages diving against the Mi-24P, getting an expensive and crucial unit here, and even surviving against that also. There are positions. There is no French infantry in the front forest, and the Motostrelki RPG-22s will likely be able to get some damage done here if WoE doesn't manage to escape from there. There is the Tarask waiting for enemy planes to suppress them before. There is also a KPV, which is opening 50 cal fire on the commandos, could actually get a very juicy hit here, taking out the commandos as well as the Super Puma. Though unlikely, yeah, the DPS is not enough, there's no stun.
Yeah, and the CV tank of WoE got killed here once more. Roland 3 is actually under fire here, but the BMP2s just don't seem to get a foot on the ground anymore. As WoE has to bring a new CV around. I'm not sure if WoE has realized that his CV got lost there. Ooh, another MX-30 Brennus goes down to RPG-22. Finally, some important kills here for Skoof. Taking out all the Brennuses is pretty key. Rapira here trying to come around from the side. Might find a Dragon Para. No, not quite finding that. But the BMP2, just before dying, killing the CV tank, that is really key here, because we are more than halfway through this game, and we are 1,350 points and slightly taking here for Skoof. And Skoof is on the back foot here. Skoof is not going to be able to make any massive push in this game, most likely ever again. But they don't really have to. They just have to hold out on the spot they are in right now. And that is a manageable position. They need to reinforce the north a bit. They need to set up some defenses here in the south. But they don't even have to go through half of the game anymore. And they are above 1,400 points ahead before any CV gets anywhere close here. Finally, a P4PC and an AMX-30 leader have been brought in. But Skoof maybe a bit too late with the defenses in the north. And if they get overrun, this could still deteriorate pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's a Grenadier Voltigeur Apilas next to the T-80BVK. I don't know if Skoof has realized this, but this is a huge risk here. Oh yeah, now the T-80 taking a lot of...
Oh, 2 BMP2s going down. And with reinforcements still inside, the MX Brennuses here just sniping them. Massive mistake by Skoof. TADBVK disengaging again. But 2 more BMP2s going down like that, that's not something you can afford here. As imagine those being right now in the north, the situation there would be so much easier. Igla here in the middle getting pushed out. The reinforcements in the north coming in all a bit late. 3 BMP2s finally coming in there for the defense, but losing the BMPs with units still inside, that's just something that you can't afford if you're already in the spot that you are in here as Skoof.
Yeah, the Ecklerer getting a spotting position up north is an amazing way to show how you actually can use recon. You get the recon out there, you have the AMX out once, just open fire at the first few units to recon spots, and then immediately you have 2 infantry squads out there, and they can get in there.
Everything is falling apart. The south is completely collapsing. The TADBVK, the Rapira, all down. Only one AMX, the 10 RC went down on the other side, and I think this is it. Like, this is going to get the rear point here, and there's nothing to stop this. And then how do you push into AMX 10 hots? How do you push into 3 AMX 30s here? You just don't, most likely. The SU-25s didn't do it, and Scoof just losing a couple too many T-80s and BMP-2s basically for free here, and this trade is just not going the red side's way. WOEISME with a really clean fashion here, even after that somewhat messy early game, is just getting through here. SU-25 finally starting to get some hits, as the Mirage is not quite there this time around, but the AA defenses got taken out time again as well, so the Mirages still find the kill here, and that's most likely the last SU-25 we will see this game. And the Snorf now getting captured, Tick about to be turned around, P4 can just continue on for the +4 in the south, and yeah, it's 60 minutes still. There is more than enough time if the real zone falls this early on, and there's only TO-55s coming on. Nothing here can stop this push, really, as the T-80 BVs just were misused heavily time and again here.
Yeah, the like WoE is I really love WoE's usage of the of smoke mortars. In both games so far, we've seen WoE use them right at the right position and have perfect timings so that the infantry can engage and that the enemy ATGMs can be out of the game for just the correct seconds, not doing like massive preemptive smoke barrages that your enemy can play against, but holding either singular positions with a constant barrage, or then doing a singular barrage under which you drive in and take the position, thus completely like bypassing your enemy's defensive advantage. Though BMP2's getting some nice damage done here on the Grenadier Voltiger FR1s up north, but this front line is already too wide. The ATGMs behind this infantry defense, they are more than enough, I think, to hold on the north.
Yeah, +6 going on here now. AMX 30B2 in the north still going on. The Motostrelki is not able to push through. Another SU-25 actually being able to get in here, but even with a +4 from the south alone, this game would already not go the way of Scoof, and Scoof is down. It gets to +6 now. 7 minutes to victory here for WoE. WoE getting a lot of points per minute here right now. 240 points that are added on top each minute here, and with still 14 minutes remaining. This shouldn't be an issue, most likely even being able to go for +8 relatively soon in the north, as the trades here are still really one-sided at this point.
Yeah, the Mirage F1s have been performing amazingly. They are 200-point fighters with limited weapons loadouts, a lot of gun ammo instead of missiles, which is what we want to see, of course. We want to see the missiles. They are way more practical, but the gun ammo really gets to be used here, considering these are the fastest fighters. They are 1,325 speed. That is the same speed as with the F-15 Eagles. So those things can close in on the Su-25s really well. And the Su-25 having only 10 points of ECM, it's actually pretty vulnerable to even the French missiles, which are not the best that NATO has to offer.
And here we go. GG is called, and we are on match point now for WOEISME. Nearly a 2-1 KD here in the end, and it's a 2-0 lead for our player in blue. WOEISME now getting this point, and it's going to be a tough uphill battle here now from this one on for Scoof. The opener looked really promising, but WOEISME kept everything clean and together, and just didn't really materialize afterwards. The BMP2s weren't protected well enough, got sniped time and time again. Like we have seen 79's games lately where the BMP2s were basically untouchable behind the T80BV wall in front of them, but that didn't happen here. The BMP2s got sniped too many times, sometimes even with units inside, and the wall of IFVs that you want to get up in this matchup just never materialized. And WoE with some really great shot calling there, coming in right at the right time when his units had the flank, when his units had the numbers to just break through, and from then on keep it rolling.
Yeah, this is an enlightened cast, so we would never say anything as stupid as something like quantity has a quality of its own, you see. But when you're talking about having give or take double the numbers of units on the ground, as well as a speed advantage, as well as some top tier recon units such as Surblinde and Dragon Para. That initiative there is not something that you will necessarily be able to abuse if you are a beginner player, which is why we like to say that 5e, even though it is overpowered, you need to know how to play it overpowered. It doesn't just automatically open up to you like something like a second UK would.
Yeah.
And yeah, the fact that with enough micro, the double advantage will helped WoW to build those engagements, and in a couple of moments there, especially throughout the mid game of trying to get rid of those infantry units from Bravo, Scoof was very much overextending, just having the single tanks go out there and challenge against the numbers. Even if they would have gotten repeated direct hits against the French tanks, just the numbers advantage of the enemy would push them down to low cohesion, which makes them less mobile, which risks them getting stunned, which in turn risks them getting a side shot or airstruck. And every time that the singular T80s were going out there and were being microed and were very powerful units, WoW had prepared for them with risky weaponry, such as the Jaguar ATs, as well as the kind of reliable long-range defensive weaponry, which is the ATGMs. The number of ATGMs means that at least some of them are going to hit, and if that one hits, that means Scoof has to react. Scoof cannot afford to keep up pushing after that first hit happens, and that particular tank needs to leave. And that means that the remaining units of the French can actually use their initiative and numbers to just keep on having the ground. The air attack just did not get enough kills to stop that from happening.
Yeah, and the AMAX of one once more here coming in really clutch. Like the Conquerors early on, the Rapiras early on really did hold the AMX 30s nicely, but the AMX of one artillery getting rid of the Conquerors quite quickly and just allowing the push through. The TADBV is being caught out in the wrong spots time and time again, and they need to be the ones that soak the shots, and then the BMP2s need to do the damage, but that never happened in this game. And yeah, really WoW with the well executed push here, pushing on to a 2-0, getting closer to grabbing the first place here, only one map victory away from getting the victory here and grabbing the first place, and with that the big prize money. And if you want to help that out, you can go over to the Messerino page and help that out. And if you want to have a shot on maybe facing WoW, or if you're a new player starting off against other newer players, sign up for next season's league. League season 4 is coming up and starting in June, going until the end of July. And if you have time there, if you're not on summer holiday just yet in that time period, and you want to have some fun competitive action, no matter your skill level, sign up for League Season 4, as there is spots for beginners in Division 4, where new players will face off against each other, up to the best of the best facing each other in Division 1. And Team and Place, for example, has signed up already, so Stardeck in there as well already, so we will have a lot of good games there for the next season. That's for sure. That's for certain. And Bad Reki coming in with another $20, so yeah, the stuff here getting even hotter, as WOEISME is on match point here. And the map number 3 will be Death Row. Ban number 1 is 20th Panzerner, as WOEISME has played 20th Panzerner really, really well lately, so absolutely the right ban there from Battlegun time and again. I believe his 20th Panzerner is scarier than his 5th Blindé. That's why we didn't see 5th Blindé banned in this last series, because WoW is just stronger with the Polish. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Death Row matchup will be here, like what Battlegun will try to bring around to change this, because so far neither the game where they had the opener nor the game where they just had to fight on with the infantry fights really got going. So what is going to be the plan here for Scoof? What does Scoof have to do it in your eyes to get the series back under control here?
I really think this is gonna be one on the picks and bans. So far, WoW has an amazing like repertoire, stable of divisions and strats right there. But so far, we have seen WoW just play the vanilla mechanized NATO divisions, which are the meta. Even though you do have divisions such as 56 that you can go on ranked and fight against other people on ranked, the competitive divisional matchups here really it really comes down to can WoW do a combined arms mechanized play with a lot of smoke mortars, especially mobile self-propelled smoke mortars? Does WoW have a suitable enough air component to punish the kind of stuff like the SAS rushes with your Mershak-Waffes? Okay, now WoW is now writing here. WoW is banning second UK, first UK, and 35th VDV. So those are all very good divisions on Death Row. Death Row is one of the one of the maps that rewards your forward deployment advantage here. I think that might kind of lead Scoof to do a less popular forward deployment. 56th here could theoretically work well, but the problem with 56th is that it cannot reliably counter against something like it cannot reliably counter against something that can air spam it. And even though second and first UK are taken out there are divisions such as second Panzergrenadier that can actually do the air spam against 56th if well executed.
Yeah, it's interesting that WoW is banning the 35th every single time here. That might be intel about the opponent as well. I believe Scoof did play 35th quite a lot, and banning that over 56 here is an interesting choice. 5th Panzer here being banned on the other side, so yeah, that's an anti-WoW ban there as well. So 5th Plane Day and 56 open here for game number 3. So we could see the matchup of the two meta divisions, and yeah, it's going to be interesting here. That is a matchup that we haven't seen this season, 56 versus 5th Plane Day. And those are the two divisions that, on paper, if you don't take the matchup into account, if you don't take the map into account, are the most dominant divisions right now. They aren't always amazing in every matchup and every map. There are divisions where on some maps against them they might not be in favor, but just on average, those would be the two divisions to come up. So let's see what's going around here.
I think it's interesting that we got a 5th Panzer ban instead of a 5th Blindé ban, because with the 5th Blindé is basically probably the correct choice alongside 2nd Panzergrenadier. It's the correct choice for WoW to go against a forward deploying enemy, and the WoW banning 3 forward deployment divisions kind of speaks to me that that is what he wants to do. We could be seeing another 5e here for WoW. I mean, it seems to be working well, and this is also a very good 5e map.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting as we yeah, 15th Day and 56.
WoW is picking 9 Panzer.
Ooh. So
hell yeah.
T-72. Yeah, 20th Panzer out, banned out. So 9th Panzer here. If you want to play T-72, that's the pick to go. So yeah, right choice now.
Yeah, the 9 Panzer being it is not like 1st UK and 2nd Panzergrenadier and 5th Blindé, these aggro divisions. 9th is the polar opposite. It is the slow build-up juggernaut. And it doesn't have Spec Ops recon. It has limited radar recon anyways. It does get a opener chopper, and on this map, it being so tightly packed, I think the opener chopper with some light air on helicopter could actually substitute for lack of recon vehicles. Can't do that on every map, but on Death Row, absolutely. If the enemy is going to aggro opener, there's going to be like two and a half places where they can actually push, and the recon helicopters, with the jammer heli having the ECM, can reliably go and check those out. Now, But do you think? I mean, we still have a few seconds left to speculate here. Do you think Skoof is going to go for forward deployment? Because I think so. I think Skoof has, I wouldn't say like ego, but has enough confidence to exploit the inherent weakness of 9 Panzer, which is the lack of a powerful opener. The 9 Panzer opener that they can do, that you can do on ranked, and you can probably win on ranked, is that you just get a bunch of T-72s, you get them high veterancy, you stack them around with a command tank, and you have a framework of helicopters and recon to defend your flanks. Something like Rapiras as well, Conquerors missiles, of course. But that's just, I mean, Skoof. I have a feeling that Skoof probably thinks that they can eat that kind of strats for breakfast. But I would still be very interested in seeing Skoof actually actually pick something even heavier, so we could get an actual proper tank fight here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I could see a fifth plane day, but Panzer, that's not great against the T-72 Kampfpanzers. So maybe 56, but still 56 is not amazing in that matchup either, unless they can get the cluster mortars out. Like the T-62s don't win the fights, and the BMP-2s on this map don't quite have the ranges to really get working with their Conquerors. They need a lot of Conquerors hits, so something with TOW 2s could be nice.
Do you know what I think it might be coming? Imagine Skoof picks 6th Infantry, 6th US.
Ooh,
TOW 2, air spam, massive opener forward deployment advantage.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, just completely bypass the ability to have tanks.
But with the tournament game on the line, going for 6 US is a risky pick here. And the map is pretty small, so KUFs can shut that down decently fast if you don't micro your little heart out. So yeah, I see why Skoof is currently struggling to find a pick here, why this takes so long, because there is no easy, obvious answer to this. The American heavy divisions, like 11th ACAF and 3rd US, they're not the most cost efficient right now, but they can do this matchup. But there you play then for the long game, for the hard game, for getting your M1A1s and numbers out. The 4th Divise could be a way as well, but there you are not on a speed advantage either, and there you need to keep your lower 2s alive for long enough to actually get out in numbers as well, which can be done too. Like 4th Division, I think, is a pretty good pick here as well. But once more, you don't exploit the weakness of 4th. You're just saying, I'm even better at your game than you are. And that's a risky thing to do. So, yeah, for the fast divisions, 6 US is not a bad one. And 56...
Scuff has also played 9th US against 20th Panzer now, which is the cousin division of 9th Panzer. So, could be.
Oh yeah, 25th Tank Covey would be fun as well, because then you have the two best performing tanks currently when it comes to pure numbers against each other. The T-64 OBR, if we have a look at that thing, it's pretty obscene how good the stats of it are in the frontal armor and penetration and rate of fire part. 60 frontal armor, 20 pen, autoloader gun with 10 rounds per minute. Like, the base stats of this thing are insane. You only have one card of it though, but it can deal with T-72s. It can keep that up if it gets into range. Like, if you compare that to the T-72 MEV, it has the same frontal armor, it has the same pen, it has the better rate of fire. So that's something you could do. I'm not sure if I would advise doing that though.
Yeah, I think the 4th Divizia, the Dutch division, I think the reason why that might not be like an automatic pick for Skoof here, even though you get the superior tanks and you get them in good numbers and you get the TOW 2s as well. I think the reason there might be that you give your opponent a massive advantage because the infantry of the Dutch is just lackluster compared to what you get with 9th Panzer. Even if 9th Panzer gets bog standard East German Motorschützen. The East German Motorschützen have 2 machine guns per team, and they get resolute, and they also have pretty cheap as and efficient infantry support vehicles. And if you play Fourth Divisie and let's say you get into a bad position for a second, suddenly the 9th Panzer can explode. Oh no, the Scuff is picking 4th Dutch. So yeah, this means that the Motorschützen can, if there could be an opener here where suddenly WoE can gain just like free infantry fights.
Yeah, but the 4th NL has the better fire support vehicle with their unit, and it's not an infantry map. Like this, I don't believe this map will be won by infantry. Like,
but there are infantry plays that you can do. The back points that you have on the southern side of the map, those are both can be won, especially early on, with a couple of infantry engagements, and then you can just walk those infantry up to cover the reinforcement road. And
sure, but you have the Nunt race, you have the Jenny, so it's not like you lose there. And the YPR with its Ehrlichen gun, that shreds through infantry, so you still have to go that. The important part is how do you keep your Leo 2 A4s alive. You only have one card of the C, that is the one that can dominate, but you only have one card, so you have to be really, really resourceful with that. And yeah, your opener is maybe slightly better. The M113 CV here is a fantastic vehicle. And yeah, iHawk and Cheetahs here can keep the sky clean decently well as well. But you don't have helicopters, so your flank protection is a bit weaker. And you have to win the tank fights. And against the T-72s on these ranges, against the BMP-2 numbers that the other side can bring on, that is not going to be easy. Skoof has to be on top of his game here in the micro, otherwise that can backfire really, really quickly.
Yeah, the even though both of these divisions has the capacity to build up massive amounts of mech and equipment in the late game, the initiative advantage here is pretty obviously for the Dutch. The Dutch get the forward deploying Spec Ops Recon, which is the unit de jour for tank aggro. You need to have units that are cheap enough to be to gain map control, fast deployed enough to be there in the opener, and capable enough spotters. The KCT Werkeners fill that role quite perfectly. So KCT Werkeners are going to go out there, and they're probably going to go alongside the Recon heli opener, and then does 9th Panzer get MiG-29s?
9th Panzer, I don't believe get MiG-29s. They only get MiG-23s. So your F-16s can keep up with them. They only get MiG-23 MLs, 3 per card. And they get one bad and one good one. One has R-23Rs and the other one R-24Rs though. The R-24R one is a pretty good fighter as well. R-23Rs a bit lower range, a bit lower damage, but in general, the fighters, they're maybe a bit better for the Dutch. The long-range AA with the iHawks and the Cheetahs is pretty capable as well, but the question is, how do you stop the T-72 BMP-2 combo? And the answer to that is with great micro, but as the play of T-72s on the side of WoE is fantastic, it's going to be really tough to get that going. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see both sides setting up here with their decks right now. So this is going to be pretty scary here.
Yeah, the one thing that is the one little detail that's going to be in a bonus for the Dutch is that they get a bunch of the 750-meter AT weapons, the Carl Gustavs to be specific. The Carl Gustav, even if it can't penetrate the front armor of a T-72, you get infantry and like cheap recon units with the Carl Gustavs, and with the recon units they also get a recon stealth bonus, of course. So having those guys around the place, they can act as a very effective deterrent against the 9th Panzer, because if the 9th wants to drive forwards, it's either going to have to send in infantry, and that infantry can be targeted, of course, by the fast-moving Leopards as well as the Oerlikons, and or they will have to, the 9th Panzer will have to invest in the BRMs, and BRMs are not expensive. and they are really good recon, but they are also pretty defenseless, and they can be picked out by most things really fast.
Yeah, and the YPRs, I think they can be holding the flanks quite nicely. Like they can shred through BMP2s if they run into range and so on. But the TOW 2s and the Leo 2s have to win the open fields, and that's going to be tough. The YPR 765 with the TOW 2, that is a key tool here as well. It's one of the best TOW 2 carriers with smoke and TOW 2 mediocre stealth, decent speed. But the Leo 2s are the ones that have to be kept alive, and it's not really going to be easy here. So really the opener and the opening positions will be really impactful if the Leo 2s can set up nicely and not get bombed away immediately. Then this game could go long and could go well for the Dutch, but the Dutch have to grind through a lot of T-72 here most likely. And the game is about to start, so yeah, one as both sides here setting up, and we're just about to jump into game number 3, match ball time here for WOEISME, and that is a really scary thing for SCUF. SCUF needs every single victory here now, tournament live on the line, and WoE closing in on the $163 of prize pool that we are at currently. And once more, if you want to help that out, you can do so on the Matcherino page, guys. So yeah, thanks for everybody supporting the prize pool this season. Thanks for everybody here following in the last couple of minutes and through this season as well. The streams have been more successful than ever when we combine the viewership of YouTube and Twitch, so that was great as well. Really amazing with all of you. Also, once more, thanks to you, Chlorite, for jumping in here and making this dynamic duo. And yeah, I'm all out for this potentially last game of Division 1, as both are in the lobby now, and we are about to see Death Row here. I hope we will see another game. I'm cheering for Scuff's 4th, but WoE has looked so sharp this tournament so far. I'm not sure if he can give it away with Knife Panzer.
Yep, sorry, I was stepping out there. Is the game up yet?
No.
I do think I am on the Dutch side here. I mean, I just really think that so far these games have been defined by the openers, and WoE does mechanized attacks with numerous high veterancy tanks, cheaper ones especially, and SCUF likes to do air attacks. There are cluster bombers. There are cluster bombers for 4th Dutch, but no AT planes, no AT helicopters, and I mean, it's not with the deployments happening on Death Row. It's not impossible that we're just gonna see a recon helicopter go there, find the now pretty standard WoE mech blob, and then do a cluster bomb there. And if you get like a single kill, get 2 kills, get any damage, and you can keep up a recon advantage, which you should be able to do as 4th Dutch because you get the KCT Werkeners, then the Leopards get their advantage of having both of being able to decide where to engage, and they will have a better rate of fire, they will have better range, they will have better stabilizers, and they will have a better maneuverability. And the maneuverability will come very relevant in exactly this kind of gameplay that I feel we're going to see. We have seen WoE play with a lot of smoke mortars, and 4th Dutch, with its recon-based opener, is also very good at using the smoke mortars. Can you check? Do the Dutch actually get a self-propelled
No,
mortar? No.
they don't.
Okay. Well, I mean, even then, you can get the standard 150 points, deploys decently fast enough, and it's not a high priority target early on. And yeah, that if you have the smokes going all around the place, trying to mold the map, trying to create the engagements, that is where the Leopard 2s are just going to be superior. The Leopard 2s can reload faster, they can peek faster, they can hit reliably, and that might lose WoE some very crucial engagements.
Yeah, the layer 2 A4s here, the 21 damage really being so that if you can get 2 or 3 of them online, they can start to one-shot the enemy side, and that's where you want to go. You have a decent amount of tanks here. The Leo 1 and L can hold a flank early on, maybe a bit as well, and also soak a bit of damage for your Leo 2s in those engagements with the T-72s, but they won't play a massive role here. They can be helpful defending against BMP2s and so on the side as well, but they are not the killers. The TOW 2s in your YPRs and in the infantry tab and the Leo 2s will be the killers. The M110 is a nice advantage as well, because that gives you a big artillery gun that you can use if the game goes long nicely too, but I'm not quite sure how to open this up as 4th NL with not having too little on the map going into it. That's the big question. We're on a short break here as Scoof is using a quick bathroom break. So yes, it will take still 1 or 2 more minutes here, but game number 3 is setting up, and yeah, WoW already in session, so it shouldn't be all that long until we get into the final match here, potentially.
Yeah, I do have a feeling. I think that at this point, Scoof maybe just is figuring out. WoW has been reasonably predictable, not in the strategies, but in the tempo. On like WoW builds up and a perfect opener, combined force, micros it well enough, and Scoof loses key units and then has to play from the back foot. And now Scoof has the complete initiative on a map where the initiative is actually more relevant because the engagements aren't immediately on close range, such as they are on Two Lakes.
And yeah, thanks to Dalsum and Shrekworm, we are now up to $370 in Prizepool. So first place now $175, second place $87.50. That's not bad, but obviously it's only half of what the first place gets. So Scoof absolutely wants to get there, but WoW is most likely about to claim that first place if Scoof doesn't step it up in quality. Like this, the first 2 games. First game, Scoof just didn't prepare well in the setup, I feel like. Like, didn't quite set up for how aggressive WoW plays. And then the second game, there was a bit of clunkiness in the micro there that Scoof didn't show against Static. We had Static rushing him in game number 1 in the semifinals as well, and Scoof stepped it up there. So we know Scoof can do it, but it hasn't happened here yet. So Scoof really needs to splash a bit of cold water into the face and get this all ready. So that both sides.
I mean, StarTech's mech openers they're more daring and less well executed than WoW's. WoW manages to hit the balance right there with functionality and daringness. Especially my favorite things, little details, have been WoW's 2 infantry unit attacks, which always seem to work out because they are always preceded by build-up of artillery and fire support and recon. Like there have been especially in the second game, WoW just keeps sending 2 infantry squads, and generally in this game, when you do that sort of gameplay, you do lose some of them. But in WoW's case, that just never happens because
Yeah,
WoW knows what it's doing.
and
WoW knows the pieces need to be set.
and the map is up. Both players now loading in. We're building up the caster delay here so that both players are a bit ahead of us so that no stream sniping can occur. And we have 4th Division versus 9th Panzer going on now. This is really a nice show into the current meta. It's not quite the top level of divisions, but they are A plus tier divisions here facing off against each other. 4th Division, obviously the division that made the 100 win without a loss series happen for Skific, but 9th Panzer, a division that was completely busted when it first launched, has been toned down slightly since then, but it is still a T-72 powerhouse. T-72s are still fantastic, and WoW is maybe the player that executes them the best, and really, Scoof has to level up just a slight bit here to actually stand a chance to stop this menace that is coming in from the left side in red this time around. So let's see if Scoof can bring it together.
Yeah, so what here's the thing. I'm thinking about artillery advantage here. The M110 super heavies that the Dutch get, like those things are going to be really useful on this map because they can reliably eliminate basically any uh, like building, any position, and the places where you set up your command vehicles is also kind of predictable in many of these positions here. And the 200 millimeter artillery can like single salvo against a T-72, and if that T-72 is not going to die from that salvo, it's going to be on low cohesion and it's not well enough armored to survive the hits from the leopards. So just I think it is a more practicable uh, weapon against ninth than ninth's artillery and multi-launching rocket systems are against the Fort Dutch. The Dutch get going hard. We're already seeing CNVs, BO-105 recon helis, followed up by a 3 tank, 2 for fire support, 1 for main battle tank duties, and they're going to go down the middle and they are going to live under an excellent recon coverage. The Werkeners AT, the ones I mentioned here with the Carl Gustav, also going into a front position. It's gonna have exceptional stealth. The enemy is going to drive towards it. It's going to take it out on long range with the Carl Gustav, and even if it doesn't take it out, the Carl Gustav's range and suppression means that the rest of the Dutch units can maneuver around the now discombobulated foe. And Woe is opening, as you should, is trying to build a comparable recon deployment here with 4 Moto Aufklärers already, half of them coming in the Aufklärer BMP-1s. They're not bad units, Moto Aufklärers, but they are not as efficient as the KCT Werkeners. They don't deploy as fast, and they don't have the recon as powerful.
Yeah, we have the Dark Neutron +1 opener here with triple T-72 MKs here. 3 leader tanks coming in from the get-go. This is not a classic opener. Like, this is a WOEISME kind of brew with a Sturm S and a T-72S. It's not a concentrated force here either. Like, WoE is trying to make it spread out from the get-go. We don't see the BMP2s, we instead see the BMP1 PD. This is a BMP1 with a Conkers that can hold a flank quite nicely and get the ATGM a bit cheaper than your normal BMP2 kit for 10 points discount. You have no autocannon on it, but the ATGM is still just as good, and that means that WoE will have the VIF here for sure against an opponent that is way more centralized into the middle, and that is a necessity as fourth. You can't spread out as thin as the T-72 division against you can. You can't face them off one by one all over the map in the opener. So a really, really interesting setup here. And I wonder how WoE is going to play it. Will we just see WoE probing for weaknesses and then just go in wherever he sees a weakness? Or will he actually set it up as like a concentrated flanking push into the center?
Yeah, most deployments so far are just the recon is deploying as defensively as you can while also getting the standard sightlines in the middle. So MI2 earns going out there down south, which is a good choice. Very rare to have an opener Gepard, Cheetah down there. And the MI2s are just powerful enough to take out the CNVs and even Bergeners if the Bergeners show themselves. And also, of course, you can get a free Pratt, which is 75 points, which is quite cheap for having 12 TOW2 missiles, but it doesn't get the good stealth of a Humvee TOW, for instance.
Yeah, we see the Sturm on the other side, and I think the deployment here for WoE is mostly done. A smoke mortar for the middle as well. The mod Aufklärers, one coming in BMP1, one coming in normal W50. Interesting setup there. So yeah, we will have at least 3 infantry recon cards for WOEISME. No recon helicopter, it seems like. It's all recon infantry to get the best possible spotting close to the T-72s that you can get for 9th Panzer, and it will circle around the T-72s here for sure. Like, this is a lot more T-72s that you already see usually in the opener. Oh, and deployment has changed a bit. The T-72S has gone. Instead of BMP-2 arrives in the south. Okay. Both circling it a bit around. This is going to be a really nice one.
Yeah, I think from WoW's side, I think this is about expecting the enemy to do the same thing that WoW has been doing to the enemy. WoW getting the defensive openers, not giving out any juicy targets for the division that gets the better capacity to hunt for those targets. The lack of anti-air is a bit interesting here. I think that might mean that WoW is opening with fighters. Just getting those recon helicopters down there can give you a really nice can prevent the enemy from exploiting and getting a free kill. So it might be worth risking it with a fighter. And yeah, now the tank deployments also seem to be so very. Wait, no, is this Oh no, I was misclicking that all the tanks are not going to the same location. Yeah, the tanks are just gonna try to get the defensive captures and probably just run off and hide behind the infantry and recon infantry here. Yeah, I think WoW's gonna juggernaut this. WoW is going to try to turtle as best as you can, and that's gonna be a true achievement against Fourth NL. The Fourth Dutch is more dependent on having combined arms than most mechanized divisions or tank divisions, but its combined arms is also more powerful than other divisions. So that's a pretty fair trade-off, I think.
Yeah, and the MiG-23ML outclasses the F5A here in the sky, so that's already a mind game victory here for WoW if the MiG-23 actually makes it to the south here in time. The Mi-2 Yearns are a bit in danger, but yeah, F5 here can't just take the shots from the rear. Gets pushed back immediately. MiG-23 not quite getting the kill, but the Mi-2s stay safe, whilst the enemy fighter is being pushed back. And that is already a victory for WoW. Can now start to hunt down the BO-105s as well. First one here getting targeted, will not get much intel. Second one in the north will at least see a bit, but this is a great opener. It's down to a Dark Neutron opener here in the end. It's only 2 T-72 MKs, but 1 MEV here in the stat in the south. And the Mi-2 Yearns now on the hunt for recon units. And this is an issue as the Cheetahs actually got replaced with the fighter and an Eyehawk. And now another F5 comes around. The Mi-2 Yearns have to die. The CV is not really capable of getting the kill here, as the F5 finally comes around, killing one off. Verkenners goes down. One Mi-2 Yearn biting the dust on the other side. MiG-23 still around, but pretty low on missiles now. And the F5 will be able to get out alive. So, interesting opener here from both sides. I would say WoW a bit better, but
yeah, I was watching the Scoof's player perspective, and Scoof got nothing, got absolutely no unity identifications and no recon there. The MiG-23 investment has paid off immensely here from where I'm standing. Though now it's gonna run with, so the Eyehawk doesn't get a free kill there.
Yeah, Eyehawk missile not hitting there. And the M113 in the south getting killed off by the BMP2, that's another great kill. The YPR and the other M113 now having to fall back a bit. Scoof with a slight point lead, but the flank in the south is wide open. And oh, WoW with the double SU-22 cluster. Yeah, this is what we were talking about. This is what you have to protect yourself against with the Leo 2s, and this is not going to be easy. Cluster bomber coming around. Leo 2 manages to escape. The Leo 1 doesn't, but there comes the second cluster, and it goes directly for the Eyehawk and takes out the Eyehawk. So cluster bombers will survive. F-16, oh, the F-16 flank in the rear, but it doesn't get the missile out on time. And the second one most likely will get out alive as well. Oh, it gets the damage, but no kill. Such an interesting and great flank there, but the execution just so slightly off. The Leo 2 is still alive on the ground, but the Eyehawk and the Leo 1 and L are down. The Leo 2A4C is super low on hit points, has to get the hell out of there. BMP's pushing forward, and the D-72 leaders here now coming in. The TOW 2 is in a nice spot. The F16 and F5 here now actually going for strafing runs, taking out a mod aufklärer whilst they're at it. So that's a decent thing to start with. Ooh, Toe2 from the south, not hitting the MEV. Second Toe2 coming around here against the T72 leader. Gets the kill! Oh, this game is starting really hot. Cluster F16 coming out. This is a good cluster F16, but it doesn't quite find the run.
Yeah, another Su-22 rocket plane out here with the heavy rockets diving against the Toe2, but likely going to get... Does actually get the kill, does not get shot down by the Freedom Fighter. Currently, the Su-22s are... they're going to be out of the field for a moment, and the MiG-23 Marxist-Leninist, I doubt is enough to fight against this Dutch air spam. KUF here missing against the Freedom Fighter, and with no immediate... The KUF ran out of ammunition, so it means it cannot follow its hunt commands. So it's just standing around there. WoE needs to realize that and move it to the front as fast as possible, as well as get its supply, of course.
Yes, and both T-72s in the south got killed off by the Toe2s, and the sensor T-72 leader got killed off by the cluster bomber, so Skoof is fully online. Skoof did survive the cluster with the Leo 2A4 leader. He didn't get the kill there, even though he had the great flank. And yes, he lost a bit in the first engagement in the opener, but the tank fight went 100% his way, and this is where the Dutch want to play from. Gets another iHawk online, gets enough fighters online now to protect this when the cluster bombers can come around again, and just needs to get an investment to an iHawk and 1 or 2 more Leos, and then the Dutch will be really hard to push off this field. The snowball of the T-72 is not going to happen, and WoE will have to find another solution for this matchup.
Yeah, WoE going in and investing heavily into anti-air with a bunch of Shilkas and 3 Shilkas actually coming out there. But the T-72 printer does keep on going with a Pioneer Flum to keep the first forests that Skoof would logically push will be kept clean by the Pioneer Flum, which is the right choice there, I believe. Will easily beat even the Genies. And with a tiny presence up the northwestern corner with the Aufklärer BMP-1 and Moto Aufklärer, WoE kind of really wants to hold that corner because the limited mechanized advantage of the single YPR and a single Leopard 2 leader here, if when the iHawk gets online here, I think the Leopard 2 might start pushing behind the Verkener's AT, and right now there's nothing here that can challenge the Leo outside of an air attack.
Yeah, MiG-23ML here, coming to around, trying to push back the fighters, but the iHawk is online, and it can easily push this back. Artillery needs to come around, as the Nantes hold the north. This is where WoE maybe can do some damage. The YPR is not quite in position for that position, and there is still a bit of time to get something going on there. Currently only 1 tank on the front line, as the Leo 1L went down in the north. So only the Leo 2A4 in the center currently around for Skoof, but yeah, no T-72 right now on the front line on the other side, so it is down to infantries and BMPs. And yes, you mentioned earlier, that's where the 9th has a slight advantage, but it's not all that big, and F16 trading against MiG-23. I don't believe the Shilka can get the kill. KUF not finding a hit either. Ooh, and the cluster F16 is around again, so that is another dangerous thing coming in here.
Yeah, the cluster F16 is out here with 0 spotting coming from Skoof. Skoof does not see a single enemy unit, and having the cluster plane be so close there, that is such a huge risk. The iHawk is currently inside a truck, so it couldn't counterfire against the MiG-23. And right now we're seeing a mix of defensive and offensive units coming from Skoof. You really can see from these spies on both sides that they invested so heavily into the air. So we're just gonna have this moment of light conflict on the ground with the WOEISME trying to push with an infantry, but now with the YPR PRI getting here, that means that WOE's path has run out, and it requires more fire support.
Yeah, and the air play here is going really well for Skoof. Skoof now also setting up for a push into the south, and without T-72s there, Holding that will be tough. Oh, T-72 MUV in the middle, in danger. KCT Verkenners not hitting with the Carl Gustav though, so they get the YPR and actually get out of there scot-free for now. That is pretty lucky for WoW, getting a frontal hit there, only taking away 1 hit point, so that's the best outcome you could hope for there, even getting rid of the KCT Verkenners most likely there in a second. Yeah, that goes down, so that's a decent start here for WoW to get back into that center zone. It is still only 1 Leo 2 so far, as Scoof had to invest into supporting tools in the last couple of minutes. A bit more infantry, a bit more ATGM carriers, a bit more AA. But that is all set up now, and the Leo 2 printer can start soon again, and this is the scary part for WoW. As if the Leo 2 numbers get too high here, I just don't see a way of how you push through that.
Yeah, the Scoof has been successfully pushing away and kind of testing the waters here up north, and actually driving the PRI close enough to get the RPG'd. And with the iHawk and the double Leopard 1s there, I think there might be Verkenners might start trying to hop from one tree line to another to provide for the Leopard 1 and else. And if the Leopard 1s go and start engaging, WoW might move around heavier tanks, T-72s, to challenge them, and this would then open a perfect target for the air attacks of the Dutch. And the waiting here, trying to build some kind of a defensive front line, trying to bait the enemy into moving out first, is the more reliable way to do it. But WoW has never really been a player.
Ooh, cluster coming in for the iHawk again. And the iHawk goes for the other unit. Oh, the cluster plane gets it through. F-16 not getting the kill just yet. iHawk number 2 trying to get the kill there. Oh, the cluster plane is surviving again. Really unfortunate for Scoof, as the rocket plane at least went down. But, oh, the cluster plane is so much more dangerous. And here comes the special unit from WoW. Oh, going for the second iHawk. WoW is still trying to make it with the airplay, as the napalm comes in and gets the kill. iHawk number 3 is down, and that is a devastating news for Scoof. Scoof now will have to set up a good bit better cheetahs. Cheetahs immediately come in. Yes, this is key now. That he didn't get the cluster kill there, though, that is really unfortunate. At least one of the SU-22s went down, and he gets to be in P2 now. He didn't lose a plane of his own, but the iHawks are down, and that is going to be really annoying now.
Yeah, so for the casual viewers, the 4th Dutch only gets those 3 iHawks. They afterwards now, they only have heat seeker planes, such as the F-16s and Freedom Fighters, as well as gun AA and like Stingers. So, oh no, here the cluster, the very crucial cluster SU-22 getting hit and driven off by the Freedom Fighter. Freedom Fighter getting punched out.
Both sides surviving there. One F5 went down, and the cluster plane is surviving once more here. Napalm coming towards the middle, doesn't quite find the Leo, as we only have 1 Leo on the battlefield right now. It's still that one crucial Leo out there. The push into the south here of Scoof is going to be interesting. If Scoof can get the CV in there, that is going to start a tick here for the blue side. That is going to be a crucial moment. Pioneer with flamethrowers in the middle here, getting engaged by the Leo 1. And yeah, the T-72 numbers here are still super low. Napalm trying to keep hunting the Leo 2, but the Leo 2 too fast, can dodge that too easily. So the Napalm rocket launcher here not getting the kills. It's really expensive to resupply. It has an insane reload time of 330 seconds, so WoW can't keep that up forever. He's splitting the salvos currently with 10 rockets each, but the damage is not really being done here right now by those. SU-22 AT though, that can do the damage. And yeah, the cheetah numbers needs to increase. First, Leo 2A4C coming in now. 3 cheetahs on the battlefield. I would love to see a couple more, as the SU-22 AT gets the CV in the south. That at least stopped the it being captured, so it's a +2, but it's not going to be a +4 for Scoof here, which is what Scoof was hoping for. And WoW can get a CV in there somewhat quickly again. F-16 cluster coming in, getting pushed back by the Coup, but at least Scoof will get ahead in points now.
Yeah, WoE's middle T-72 getting side shot by the Werkener's AT here, so the Leopard 1s and Prats can do the rest of the damage here. The plateau is really getting after Skoof here. The investment into the incendiary was not enough to stop the attack for up the northern part of the plateau, and now even the last Aufklär BMP-1 getting targeted by the Panzerinfanterie Dragon. From now that if the Werkener's AT, as we can see here in the middle of a plateau, if they get into these positions, and they most likely are, it's gonna be immensely difficult to get back there. Controlling these positions, having the stealthy Carl Gustav unit doing the spotting there, and that is a perfect position to allow for a sort of mobile defense that the Leopard 2s and Prats and Cheetahs really work well with. That instead of sitting back behind your Eyehawks and your TOW2s, what you have is a small mobile group of vehicles that whenever the enemy pushes too far, or even pushes in a location that you can punish, you send in your close range AA, and you send in your tanks, and you send in your infantry to meet them, and then when you get your kills, you run back. And if the enemy tries to follow you, you have the long range defenses of the Prats and TOW2s to hold against them. And that's something that WoE is very aware that could
A
happen.
really unfortunate air engagement there. Like, sorry, but
Yeah.
that had to be talked about. Two MiG-23s coming in against three F-16 and shooting down two F-16 over enemy air defense, and then one of the MiG-23s even survives. This is getting problematic in the skies here now for Skoof. Losing the two F-16s, they're not getting the two MiG-23s on the other side. Once more, one of them surviving with just a sliver of health. It's really unfortunate what's going on there in the air RNG there to some extent, but also slight mismicro there time and again from Skoof. Like the F-16s weren't quite set up nicely, whilst the MiG-23s got their R-24Rs off really well. And that's what killed the first F-16 before even any missiles was fired the other way around. But the Cheetahs and the two remaining F-16s not able to get the kills on both enemy planes there is pretty brutal. The tick is still going on here. We have a 300-point lead now, but you have to set up against the air spam to come. The Stingers here now are really crucial. More Cheetahs have to come around here, and you can't afford to lose these now to artillery or air spam. As if that goes on for too long, you're gonna just drown in the last 20 minutes of this game.
Yeah, the rocket artillery is reloading at 60% right now, so it's going to take a moment before WoE can start picking off these units here. But as we've seen with the airplay so far, fortune favors the WoE, and with the AT and cluster plane diving in here, is there vision? There is no vision, but they are blind targeting the enemy.
The AT not really getting anything though, and the cluster going for the mortar. That's not a valuable target. What was that about? He gets the cluster mortar, sure, but he gets a mortar with the cluster, but that is not a target that is worth a cluster SU-22. That is not a Leo 2. That is... What was that decision making by WoE? This is wild.
I think I think WoE just wants there to be. If WoE thinks that the attack is happening right now, maybe that's a way to help his push that's going over the top right now, because WoE is not investing into getting rid of or stopping in. I don't know. I think that was maybe just that WoE really wants to make sure that the enemy doesn't have that in this engagement right now. There is a T-72S, and a second one has been ordered in, and the T-72S is in a long-range position and has actually taken out an enemy supply unit already. If WoE gets recon up here, yes, now the Svirmis are going out there, long-range, striking the front armor of the Leopard 2A4B, doing 3 damage.
Yeah, forcing that thing back immediately. It can't stay on the front line. It's the leader, so you can't afford that to get lost. But there is a Leo 2A4C waiting for anything pushing through the south. The second one is on the way now from the rear. F-16 cluster is still out here as well. The KUFs by now keep the sky pretty clean for the red side. But, Stinger, yeah, maybe a bit over eager there as well. You can't afford to lose Stingers like that. One Stinger already went down in the north, and now one more will go down here in the center. You got at least one F6 Su-22 cluster now, but you need to kill a couple more of those AT planes to stop the snowball that could potentially happen later on. So, yeah, a bit skeptical, but the Stinger actually made it alive, so it's now in a decent spot to pre-fire something. Napalm coming around, trying to get the Leo 2A4. That should be something that you can micro out of. Yeah, Scoof microing the right direction. And that Napalm won't get a kill immediately now. It does cut the reinforcement road a bit though, so Scoof has to be careful with units coming in again, as the +4 does continue, and finally goes down to Vo getting a unit in here again, reducing it most likely to no tick at all, as 700 points have been ticked up here for Scoof, and we're about to reach the halfway point.
Yeah, as I was saying about the mobile defense here, the way that WoW wants to beat that mobile defense and beat the enemy increased mobility is, I think, with artillery. The smoke mortars on one hand and the area denial of the napalm rockets is the way to keep. Is the way to shatter the enemy's like standard locations, force the enemy to move around, prevent them from repairing, and in this way, the wider angles, the wider concave formation that the T-72Ss, two of them now, are using this.
Ooh, cluster bomber coming in. It's preemptively fired onto the Layer 2A4C. It's surviving with 1 hit point. Oh no, the second one! It's getting into the napalm! The leader tank is nearly down as well. Oh, the Layer 2A4C is down and the leader tank is really, really low as well. The cluster Su-22 got taken out at least this time around, so that's both of those eliminated, but it got a kill onto a Layer 2A4C, and that is a really valuable target. MR10 finally coming around, could go for some counter battery. The napalm is rotating around now. Leo 2A4C in the south, engaging a T-72S, second one coming around, so you have to disengage out of that now. And the Leo 2A4C B leader in the north, it is really low, and it gets killed off by the T-72MK. Ooh, is Scoof getting overwhelmed here once more? His northern formation is really low. The loss of 2 Leo 2A4s like that is not something that you can easily compensate. One BMP2 at least gets stopped, but there's so many T-72s here now. YPR goes down. The YPR Leo 2 with the TOW 2 has to disengage. Leo 2 from the south maybe has to rotate up north. MR13 here trying to get the napalm here in the rear. That is a nice real-line action movement here from Scoof. If that can find the artillery, this would make the game so much easier for the player in blue. But MR10 investment instead of more tanks here right now, I'm not sure if Scoof can hold the front line right now.
Yeah, the double M110 is, it seems like it was happened right at the wrong situation. That is a minute's worth of income when you lost your crucial tanks that are the muscles behind your elastic defense. And yeah, the WoW has been trading away points, 800 points basically, to get themselves into this position, waiting for the moment, waiting for all the pieces here to stay on the board. I really love the T-72S flank here that has basically denied a lot of the areas here so that the Leopard 2A4C, that is the last one on the board here, cannot move out realistically and has to stand back because the Svir missiles fly so far and so fast. And so far, WoW is holding this middle point of the southern zone, which has prevented the Dutch recon from getting into a position to actually spot for the T-72s, the SS. I think those are the units that, yeah, they are immediately getting targeted, at least at Forest is by the M110s, but the M110s, there is nothing to prevent the motor shoots from just getting close.
Yeah, we have a F-16 cluster. The MR13 flank did get stopped, but it did get the kill onto the coop in the south. So the cluster F-16 can come around here if it wants to. The YPR with the TOW 2 got the MUV killed in the middle. So the kills here lately have been pretty decent for our player in blue. And Stinger's doing some damage against the Mi-24 here. This game is not over at all. The blue side still has a lot of fight in them. But the Leo 2s need to be kept alive now. I'm not quite sure why the F-16 doesn't dive for that forest, seeing that the KUF got sniped and that there's no missiles coming out. But now there's a couple too many planes on the other side. Ooh, SU-22 here in the south gets pushed back by the Stingers, gets damaged a bit. So now the Leo 2A4 can do a bit of an engagement again. MiG-23 here maybe pushing a bit too deep, going over a lot of cheetahs, trying to kill the cluster. It gets the cluster! Oh no! Scoop's F-16 with the bad micro there. The F-16s got caught out in a bad turn, and that dive being rewarded, it was too deep. That dive should not have been rewarded, but yeah, luck is with the brave, and it actually did the job. As the Mi-24P here is flying around in the south. Nearly got killed off by the Stingers, but the Stinger not finding the second hit there. And now the MEVs and T-72Ss here, they are scary. And without the cluster on top of a T-72S, the Leo 2s will have a tough time of stopping this.
Yeah, and that F-16 cluster got shot down at the worst possible moment, because this is right immediately the T-72s in numbers, both the moves and the S variants are pushing down south. WoE had infantry coming in, the Motorschützen and Pioneer, to actually push this forest further. And this would be the situation. This is the moment. And now another F-16 cluster is coming in here, and it is targeting T-72S. Diving in. There's no AA except for the Shilka.
Gets the kill. Oh, doesn't quite find the hit onto the Mi-24P there in the rear. F-16HE here coming around. Has a good bomb load as well. T-72 MUV gets sniped by the Leo 2A4. So, yeah, those beasts are still really scary. Second MUV is targeted, but not quite hit there. Bit of infantry damage. The F-16 going a bit deep there. KUF will get another missile out on it, and that might be the end of it. No, it does survive. The high ECM keeping it alive there. And we have 3 Leo 2A4s here, whilst on the other side, we only have 3 T-72s on the front line. A 4th one in the far north as a leader. So this game is not over here, but the infantry push of WoE is starting to work out again, getting a TOW2, getting a YPR with a TOW2 and a cheetah killed off there, and this is the combined arms that is starting to look a bit flimsy here again for the Dutch, and that's always where the Dutch start to struggle. If the combined arms starts to fall apart, the Leo 2s don't have the flank protection that they need, and then their side armor starts to become relevant. F-16 gets a nice kill here. Oh, HE Bomber finds a good hit, gets some infantry wiped out, nearly gets the MEV. So that is a good hit there. The infantry in the center, though, still annoying here.
Yeah, WoE even smoking the infantry to prevent the Leopard 2 from actually doing anything and putting it even further on risk. The minuscule range of the RPG
Oh, SU-22 coming around, gets another Leo 2A4B here for free in the center. F-16's not able to follow it. They should not dive that deep. They don't get a hit there. F-16 going down. Skoof seems to be frustrated, gets baited into the enemy air defense and loses both F-16s here most likely. You had to give up on that Leo. Trying to dive that deep, losing your fighters now as well means that the next Leo is just going to get sniped as well, and this is the losses that you are not allowed to take in this matchup. Otherwise, those AT planes will just keep coming for you. The Napalm here hunting the Leo 2A4C, not finding it, but these AT planes still being around with the AA being so reduced on the other side, the Stingers being all removed from the battlefield, only the Cheetahs being around, this is an issue.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, KUF is just fighting for his life. The Leopard 2 here is in touching distance of like inside the forest. Is engaging the immediately first shot gets stunned by the Motoraufklärer. Second shot gets put on low cohesion. Oh no, this is a horrible usage of the Leopard 2A4. Really shows how desperate KUF is, with another incendiary going down to the command defense line. Eastern part of the plateau, and yeah, this the Dutch are not good at comebacks. They are good at opener attacks. They are good at the Dutch win. The Dutch you want to have the mindset of when you're ahead, get further ahead. You can't really stop. You can't give your opponent chances, and if you lose a bunch of your stuff, it's going to be so difficult to rebuild that under pressure. And WoE here sending in, buying these infantry, meanwhile building up both the AT planes as well as the artillery. to just keep on the pressure
Ooh,
without actually risking the T-72.
the MR10. MR10, can it find the kill? No! Ooh, last shot coming in. Can that find the hit onto the RM70? Yes, it can! R70M Napalm finally down here. Really important, really crucial counter hit. The mod aufklärers in the forest go down as well. The Leo 2A4 is routed, but it will stay alive, and that was a really important one here now. As WOEISME is typing in darn, that is a loss that he really couldn't quite afford. The MR10s still have 11 minutes to get some more damage. For now, the points are still even for the most part. Woe is still on the take, but KUF has a slight point lead, and he has the better artillery now. He can push that T-72 out with artillery alone out of the northern zone, basically, and he is about to set up a smoke play here to get back into the southern zone. Woe with a slightly better positioning here for sure, but there are still Leos around, there are still YPRs, there is an F-16 cluster and an F-16HE here to come around again. It's not like KUF is teethless, and that could be pretty important. Oh, the F-16 here going too deep. Silka coming around, softening that up. F-16 will be pushed out, will most likely stay alive, but will only be able to come around one more time in this matchup, as the YPR is about to get into the smoke here in the middle. T-72S will try to find a 1580 GM, but it will get into the smoke here in time. And Leo 2A4C trying to set up here. M110s should be firing just onto the right side corner here in the center zone. Clean that up, get that back for KUF, then KUF can take his time with the southern zone as well, but that is not what's going on here right now. The MR10's currently reloading and waiting for new commands. Those are super important units here. Oh no! The Leo 2A4 goes down, the cheetah's not getting on time on target here. SU-22 is surviving with one hit point. That might be enough repair time that it's not coming around in this game anymore. But that loss is still such a painful one here again. Having to replace another Leo 2. I'm not even sure if there are enough Leo 2s still in the deck to get that replaced. As the MR10s, they need to fire here. You only have 10 minutes. Don't reserve ammunition. Those MR10s need to be constantly salvoing through their shots here now. Finally, one of them aims up against something again. YPR here, running out of smoke to hide in, keeping the tick from going on here right now, as the other YPRs in the north keep on going. T-72 MEV pushing deeper into this here now, trying to find the YPR, not quite doing so, and running into KCT Vercanary range actually, as the F-16 HEs and clusters not quite doing the damage that they need to do, and the MEV actually backing right into the YPR this time around, as the Vercaners stun down the YPR next to it. And there we go. I'm not sure what's going on with the F-16s, why they're not dropping their bombs. But the YPR here now about to get killed off. The smoke mortars didn't keep firing. I'm not sure why that didn't happen. Like, it seems like KUF just not quite up there with the micro right now. It's a long series. It's the third game already. The M110's finally aiming up onto the T-72 position. The T-72 is actually pushing forward now. Trying to get the fight here, as we have 5 T-72s here pushing in now. The YPRs with the TOW2s desperately trying to hold on with the defense. M110s re-aiming here, but the T-72 numbers seem really high. MEV's down. Leo 2 pushing forward now. Gets the leader tank killed in the north, but all the TOW2s here went down. One more TOW2 has arrived now. It's still a lot of T-72s though. The tick is still slightly in favor of our player in blue, as the points are about to stop, but the TOW2 here in the middle gets pushed out of there as well. Another TOW2 coming from the south, only able to stun things, not able to kill things. One storm went down. The M110s did a bit more damage, but there is still a SU-22. The TOW2 went down, and it still looks like this is spiraling out of control a bit too quickly. Leo 2 finding a hit, but not quite the stun. Oh, shouldn't smoke off. Yeah, the MEV is the one that smokes off there. But the SU-22 AT here still around. MR10's not firing. 2 more Leo 2s coming around here for the south. Another CV tank able to get into the zone here now, as the Leo 2A4 needs to take really good engagements. Engages the wrong unit here. Doesn't engage the tanks, and it gets side-shotted. Oh no! This is game, I think, as now the CVs are all off the map, and we will see WOEISME now taking up really nicely here. And there we go. GGVP is called, and Oh, woe is me. Let's take the 3-0 clean victory in this game that just really looked good for Scuff for such a long time, but not able to keep the things going. And woe is me really getting rewarded for just tenaciously keeping the T72 printer up.
Yeah, you could see how Scoof's micro was just making basic mistakes at the end there, just clicking all around the place. And I really just like to point out how purposeful this air spam into the T72 printer tactic really was. Like the early on targeting of all the iHawks, sending in the rocket planes, the cheap rocket planes to take out something like a building that holds a ATGM, and then following that immediately up with the cluster plane that got microed to target the iHawks, doing that twice and taking out the third one with the incendiary. That was when I think the game's momentum completely switched off for the Dutch. Like having to spend all of your points into close range uh, gun AA, which is suitable in killing infantry, but not on this map, not in these engagements. So the cheetahs were largely inefficient, and as you pointed out, the fortune did favor the Ninth Panzer here with significant air victories coming for WoW as well. And WoW kept on playing the air strat, kept on waiting until all the points were out on the board, and there was a moment when the critical mass had moved so completely onto the Ninth Panther side that even if all of the cluster planes, even if all the HE bombers would have gone down and would have taken out those T-72s, I still don't think it would have been enough, because the lack of follow up with the Leopard 2A4s, the fact that the Leopard 2A4s were either corralled away by ATGM placement or punished repeatedly with the fighter bombers going in there. And the cheetahs can do good damage, but if you drive them as close as drive your leopards, that's a 85-point unit that just gets killed by a BMP-1 on long range. So the air game was completely abused from by WoW, as you should. The weakness of only having heat seekers, of only having a single card of iHawks, was the reason why the defenses were never really able to build themselves up after the iHawks were all taken out.
Yeah, really well deserved victory here by Bo in the end. Scuff just slipping a bit there in the end. Not quite keeping the micro as tight as it would have needed to be there. The air engagement's not quite there. The cluster bombers and HE bombers not using the opportunities when they had chances of killing the SUs. The MOR-10's not constantly firing, whilst the artillery on both side basically was non-stop in the action, and that's just something you can't afford when the enemy is on top of it every single time. And in the end, we have a deserved champion here. So WoW taking it 3-0. And thanks to the latest contribution of Odyssey here, we are now up to $400, reaching the next stretch goal, which is nice. That means Division 3 winners will get $20 out of the prize pool as well, and the champion here will take $180 with the current state, as it's missing the Division 3 winner $20 now. But yeah, really, really strong game here by WoW, taking the Season 3 championship and really getting a nice finish to a long coming series of strong tournament show-ups here.
Yeah, personally, I would be interested. I don't know if that's possible. I would be interested in talking to Scoof about how he feels about this. I don't know if his English is up for it or if he's feeling this way. But yeah, there was in YouTube chat, people were commenting on the cluster plane and the bomber usage, or well, the lack of it. And it is difficult to communicate via spectator. But I was constantly checking the spotting ranges, and like they're just they Scoof just didn't have the vision. They just didn't see the tanks. He would send the planes up there, and when the enemy was visible, and then by the time the enemy was there, they had smoke off. WoW had hidden their units, they had lost vision, something got killed. And at that point, the micro priority of the cluster plane becomes secondary, so they would just fly around there, and the enemy would push them out with the KUFs. And this was it was less about KUF mismicroing the planes and more about KUF being denied proper dive-ins and proper vision by the more passive player. The passivity of WoW was like very well fit in with in countering the air spam of the Dutch. And every single time the planes would not drop their bombs, it was because WoW had decided to not do the attack, to not go over the top yet. And when WoW started pushing, you will note that they did it with the incendiaries and with infantry. And incendiaries and infantry are stuff that the aircraft can't really do anything about. And the presence of the infantry, even if they were completely expendable, gave the initiative to the player with the larger tank force backing them up. And this was so it is not merely about Skoof just failing and not having the micro, even though I am sure that was part of it. Of course, air micro does require a lot of APM, and when you have to also deal with the Leopard 2s, which are extremely microable, and then you also have to watch out for enemy Storms and ATGMs taking out your lighter vehicles and your Pratts. All of that, it does hurt, especially against the APM capacity of middle-aged men.
Yeah, and that brings us to a winner's interview here, as Vo is about to join us here for talking about this fantastic series and the fantastic season that Vo played here. And yeah, let's get him in here. And let's talk about how this all went here, as this was really a clean victory. So yeah, congratulations, Vo. That was a really strong show there.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm tired.
You woke up 3 hours ago.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, well, yeah. Best of fives are tiring, dude. Even if it didn't go all the way, I've really happy with my performance there. Just played real consistently. Did a lot of the things I was trying to work on. Yeah, I noticed you were talking about after the game, Chloride, that I played a lot more passively, and that's really something I've been working on. Like I'm going out of my way to try to play a little bit, like add a little bit more to my decks, not double bet everything. Start figuring out how to, expand my division pools, so I don't just get banned out of my repertoire, so I don't just get banned out of the tournament instantly, like has happened in the past.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that we got to see the kind of WoW in the WoW element, in his own element with the 5e and second Panzergren, like the peak performance in the peak performance maps as well with Vertigo and Two Lakes. But yeah, this because like in this last game here, we have seen that in earlier games, KUF is capable of doing like early aggro, capable of doing really powerful aggro supported by aircraft. And like on this map, the only thing where I felt like you were maybe put a little bit out of your element was when you had the 3 Shilkabai in immediately, I think kind of maybe panicking about enemy fighter bombers. But the enemy... Oh.
No, yeah, just the Shilka-buy. I think it's interesting just when you say that it was a panic buy, but I literally... I knew for a fact that if Skip tried to be aggressive, his tanks were going to die. So it was much more about knowing that I could just sit behind the cliff, per se, the area where the vision drops off. I could just sit behind there. There's no way he can aggress on me without much more infantry. You got to realize when you look at 4E, what's the highest health squad? It's the Notre, right? And then you have the Genie Verkenners. Those aren't exactly super good at aggressing. So I took advantage of the fact that he would have these little puny 4 health recon squads. And if he did that, I would have just brought rocket planes out, killed them, and all the stuff would have been blind, pushing into small confines where my T-72s excel. So it was much more calculated than it may have looked, specifically because this map is so good for T-72 decks. He can only play with his 2A4s on one part of the map, which is the plateau. And even on that, my right of the plateau, I think it would be the south. I don't recall the map.
It is south for us.
Even that part of the maps, if you put the smoke mortars in the right spot, is pretty T-72 favored. Because at the end of the day, the T-72 has more armor than the 2A4B. It doesn't, like, especially when you start getting into those 2 and 3 shot ranges that like where the tanks are literally just fucking exchanging 2 or 3 shots at each other. It just doesn't matter how much more, like, if you have 3 or 4 more pen. It was kind of like that game on like the game we had on Vertigo, where I got the Brainus and the Surblin into close quarters against the T80 BVK, and it didn't really matter how much front armor it had.
Yeah,
It's very similar concept.
That game was really interesting as well. Like, how did you feel in the first 3-4 minutes on that when the SU-25s started showing up and you didn't have any roll-ons around with it?
So I want you to think about it this way. When I see SU-25s up, I count them and count how many fewer tanks he has on the battlefield, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because one of them and one of the Mi2s is a tank, pretty much.
Yes.
So when I saw that, plus the Razbeka BMP2 play, which was way too aggressive against Survlindas, I don't know. I felt pretty good. I didn't feel I didn't let myself get emotionally engaged into any of the games. I'm pretty good at kind of like neutraling out and not getting frustrated or getting too committed into one play style or another. And it didn't exactly surprise me. He was gonna air spam, but you'll notice with my opener, I didn't really bring anything I wasn't able to use later. Like, so that's a problem with that a lot of people run into when they get blunted by an air opener, is that they have a bunch of units that they suddenly no longer can use. I didn't buy 6 AMX-10 RCs. I bought, what, 2? I think.
Yeah. And one you even kept alive with great smoke micro in the north. And that never got cut out.
But like none of the other units I had exactly were reliant on being able to get there first. And the Surblenda, unlike the RC, because the Surblenda is different from the RC in this, the Surblenda doesn't need to get there first in order to do what it needs to do. Because it's got that 4 armor, it's got that Dazzler, it's got probably double the survivability of the RC, and it's got that extra pen, so it's not even really that scared of IFV fights. Yeah, no, I was prepared for it, even if it didn't look like I really bought things to prepare for it. You'll notice that as the game progressed, I wasn't trading bad, even though I had to worry about the Su-25s, because they didn't matter at the end of the day. They just weren't that relevant. He wasn't able to get that much value out of them, as opposed to like the AT plane play that I did earlier, where he did have to worry about them constantly because they're units that can be used later in the game. I would like to see him use the Su-24s a little more. Those are much better at punishing this kind of play I was doing. But then again, that would have been him having to completely retool his entire opener. So it's understandable either way.
Yeah, it was also really well played there of you with the smoke around, and then only one annoying side shot on your AMX-30 leader, but you didn't really need to play on from there, so you just kept on moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really working on actually trying to use smokes more. I think that's still a very underutilized part of the game for a lot of people. I'm certainly not the best at it. But it is something I've been working on consistently for probably since season 2 ended, and I think it's really upped my game, because one of the way in which I normally play, like if you let me play mech divs with good tempo, I'm gonna play mech divs with good tempo. Sorry, Like there were other divs I could have played than second Panzer and 5e, but he left them on the board, so I took them. Couldn't help myself. And those just really benefit from smoke play. So yeah, it's fun. I had a good time. I'm pretty happy with how I played, how it turned out, obviously.
Yeah, the smoke play was something that was constantly bringing up about how well and how actively you were doing it. There was very few times. I don't think you at any point did like the big queue up of the smokes to build a massive wall. Instead, just using it and targeting it to secure flanks, to take away crucial enemies and allow you to engage with numbers. Now, people are having some questions in the chat. Who was the player you were most afraid of facing?
So what's funny? The two people I was the most worried about got eliminated by Stahl and Starbeck.
Yeah.
By Starbeck and Stahlbecker in the fucking groups. So I was I was never cocky. Like I was never thinking that I was going to win out because I know for sure Stardeck would have given me a hard time. I think unfortunately my playstyle just matches really well into what Squiff is bad at handling. I don't think he's really good at countering tempo.
Yeah, that's
but there are definitely some players in this tournament that are, and I would have had some real trouble against them. So it's not. I'm not out here trying to say I'm unbeatable or like that. I didn't have any bad matchups, but I feel like I was pretty comfortable with pretty much everybody except for the people who I have obviously been eliminated by in the past, and I haven't really played against ProKami before. So, well, looking forward to that eventually, whenever it happens.
Yeah, calling you unbeatable. That's my job.
Yeah, that group stage this season for sure was full of upsets there. No Homelander. Yeah, Lathan's getting eliminated then immediately by Stahlbrecher and so on. Like it was a lot.
I wouldn't. Here's the thing: Stahlbrecher is quite a good player, so that wasn't surprising to me. Lathan's has not been playing as much, like of the 1v1. Like he's not. I don't think he's had enough. What's it called? Exposure to the meta to really be that competitive in this tournament. And it's just that Stahlbrecher's been playing way more. I don't think that really says anything.
Yeah, but Lathan's looked really strong in the group stage again. Like that's the thing. Like I was worried about Lathan's when he came into the tournament as well, but he swept through Bottom Feeder, Sotek, and Snow Wolfie in the group stage. So I was like coming to the playoffs. I was like, okay, Lathan's is back, and then Stahl just stomped him, and yeah, that was an upset for me there as well. Like next to the group stages that already were pretty interesting, and I'm really excited for next season as we already have a T-Man sign up and so on. So
let's go T-Man!
I'm really excited for what's going on there. Yeah, Gipik told me he would sign up for the next one as well. So,
oh boy! All right, well, hope maybe I'll see you guys in this setting next time, but we'll see.
Before you go, what is the opener that you hate playing against the most?
You know what's funny about that? I don't think there is one anymore.
Oh, anymore?
Like,
yeah. So
when I first started playing, I could not beat Fortitude Fence to save my life. Like I went like 0-10 against that dude. Like started picking up wins on like super favorable matchups for me, and then I just started getting good and bringing AA. Funnily enough, I bring like twice as much AA as I normally would against him, just because I know he's gonna go back on it. So like if I were to say anything, is actually that air rush opener. But I just realized at some point you don't actually have to be that aggressive when your opponent spends a third of their opener on stuff that's going to be gone in 3 minutes. You know, like if all you have to do is preserve your stuff and keep your recon up, and if you do that, generally, you're just going to win every fight. It's not like, and you should be preparing for it. You shouldn't be dumping 1,000 points into squishy stuff. Like, don't do that. That's not like that's just like, for example, like I remember there's a couple times where people would dump like 10 infantry squads into the start of a map every time. So I just MW1 the road with a recon helicopter, and just because I know they're going to do it. So it's just like you got to be a little unpredictable. You got to have stuff that's a little hard to kill at the start. For example, the reason I didn't use the MW1 as much in the first game is because SAS come in Saxons, and Saxons don't die to MW1s. Otherwise, I would have abused the hell out of those.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Did you know that in the last game I was checking the opponent's POV and the MI2s didn't give them any useful information. Not a single unit got spotted. Maybe an early pick of the MI2 earn, but that's like minimal. So
Seriously?
countering the
Nothing.
Yeah.
Didn't see the T-72.
No,
Did not.
nothing there.
That's kind of crazy. Wait, hold on. There's no way. Because here's the thing. I thought for certain you saw the BMP-1, and I thought for certain you saw the T-72, and it actually kind of conditioned my play a little bit.
Yeah, it saw the BMP-1 but did not identify it. It was just like 2 seconds of a unit moving around. Yeah, that was.
I mean, to be clear, I assume Scuff is good enough to know that seeing an armored vehicle at a certain stage in the deployment either says it's going to be a BRM or a BMP-1. You know, it's not like for example, I can basically read the opponent's entire opener without having to see the units. I know it's there.
It is true, but like there's like when you're already microing and there's like 1.5 seconds of visible unit in the corner.
Sure.
You know, it could be something else as well. Even though I mean, with 9th Panzer, the opener is so barren that there are not that many options, though.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, my buddy Jeremy won Division 2, didn't he?
Yeah.
So we got
he might
on top. Let's go.
And no matter what, if he wins that or not, we haven't gotten that one around yet.
Oh, he hasn't.
But it will be American no matter what, because it's America versus America matchup there. So even if Ben takes it,
right. Oh, I forget Bendover's American. It's weird.
At least he's the American time zone. I'm not quite sure if he is American, but he is placed over there.
Good old fence.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, my friends. I'm gonna go hang out with the boys a little bit.
Yeah.
Shout out to the barracks. We're gonna do some. We're gonna have some major new stuff coming out. In terms of educational content for WARNO. Mostly at the patch, I should say. Should be a good time. And then watch my stream if I ever get back into streaming. I've been really busy with work and school, but we'll see if I get a break.
Yeah, all of that in the chat right now, and yeah, hope to see you in the next season so that we can see the T-Man versus WOEISME matchup, and then
oh boy,
the Jeremy versus Woe. There's a lot of good matchups there coming.
God, Jeremy in Division 1. It's gonna be so stacked.
Yeah, okay. we might actually get to 2 American groups around this time. So yeah, see you on the next one.
Oh man, I'm not gonna have to play fence in the groups again. Again? Actually, did he go down?
No, Pivot went down, I think. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's only 1 down, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
So,
all right. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna see you guys around. Thank you guys for hosting. Really appreciate it as always.
Yeah. See you around, and yeah, best of luck.
Great rest of your evening
with everything coming up.
Bye Woe. Bye Protoss and chat also, because I gotta be leaving right now. I also have stuff to do regarding the Finnish prohibition laws around here.
And yeah, we gonna send you over to somewhere, guys. Oh, Thrifty Wings is playing No Man's Sky. I couldn't find anything else that is going on right now, so let's have some fun with some chilled out Thrifty Wings over there. And yeah, we're gonna get around to Bendover versus Jeremy. That's a good series to come up as well at another time. And tomorrow, 2v2 Army General at 9 p.m. European time. That is going to be hype as well. I always look forward to getting into that, and I finally have found 3 cool people to do it with. So tomorrow, 2v2 Army General campaign coming up your way, guys. So be around for that as well. and see you all in the next
Yeah,
one.
if anybody has like a spare 35 hours,
Yeah, see you all around, and